Jonathan Taylor. There he goes again. 50, 40, down the far sideline. He might do it again. 10, 5, touchdown. I-N-D-Y.
The Eastern Conference Championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Daly throws it west. He wins the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
It's a foggy start to week 2 here at the Droplight Grand Park campus, Westfield, Indiana. We will call this place home, and when I say we, I mean the Fan Morning Show, for 2 more days. That would be today and tomorrow. I believe the expectation is some full pads being strapped on as week 2 starts to bring a little bit of a different feel to training camps around the NFL. Good Monday morning to you. Thank you for starting your week with us. I'm Kevin Bowen, James Boyd. Alongside, thank you to our on-site engineer, Cam Blankenship, for getting us set up. Mark Dighton back in studio. Boys, a little bit foggier than we've had here through week 1.
Yes, it was a little weird walking in with all the fog, Kevin, but the football rolls on.
Yeah, the football rolls on, and again, about the closest thing you're going to get to the real football from a practice standpoint. Some full pads expected to be on here coming up today. And if it follows typical Shane Steichen training camps in years past, they will go a lot in full pads here. 4 practices down, 9 to go. They start to break up practices a little bit more. We just concluded the longest stretch of camp. That was 4 straight days to begin. James, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they go 3 straight days the rest of the way.
No, I believe it's just 2 at the most. One question I do have for Shane, who will speak to later today, Kevin, is whether or not he will have any live tackling periods like they did last year. And the reason I ask that is because you do remember last year when Savon Ahmed, the backup running back, had his ankle, I believe, broken on a tackle by Trey Washington. It was a mistake. It was not obviously on purpose, but it's a conversation that we've had among some of our beat writers at The Athletic is just, okay, which camps are still doing live tackling?
Yeah, and again, I guess 2 things. One, are you expecting Shane Steichen back today?
Yes. Well, okay. I would hope so, put it like that.
Got it. Okay, I just want to clarify that because very rare to see Shane Steichen ever miss anything. Was out on Saturday due to a personal matter when we went indoors, thanks to Mother Nature for that, on Saturday afternoon. And then 2, one thing I've always kind of been like, tackling, no tackling. When the Colts have done it with Steichen, it's never been with their frontline guys.
Right.
So I'm always kind of like, are you really getting something out of that? Or are you not? Like week 1, are you knocking – I mean, the guys that are tackling out here on the practice field, none of them are playing in week 1.
Yeah, but I guess the argument there and what he gave last year when I was going back through some notes – Kevin, is that he wanted those guys to be able to get some reps in because they might not be able to play in some of the preseason games. And so you want to put some tape out there or put something out there on the field that allows you, even if you don't have an opportunity here, to go elsewhere and get picked up and play. One
thing we typically do as we get closer to preseason games, certainly as we get closer to our end here at Grand Park, is we chat with Rick Venturi, and he's going to be a part of the TV broadcast for all 3 preseason games. Him and Greg Rakestraw we'll be doing those. And, again, the first preseason game is on the horizon. It's a week from Thursday. Actually, a week from today, the Colts will be on their way to Foxborough for that joint practice. So I guess to set things up for this week, we will have Rick Venturi join us here coming up 9 o'clock hour on this Monday morning, get his thoughts on 4 practices in. The Colts, again, will go today in the morning, Tuesday in the morning. Thursday is a night practice with some fireworks to commence things. 8 to 10 o'clock on that. Nothing Wednesday, nothing Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, they'll go morning practices again. And then that's it for the Colts for about a week here. They'll go out to Foxborough. Again, it's 1 joint practice with the Patriots, and then it's that preseason opener coming up on, I guess, a week from Thursday. So 9 practices left here in Westfield, but again, it really breaks up here starting today. So Rick Venturi scheduled to join us coming up at 9. We've got a lot to recap. We've actually had 2 practices since we last spoke to you from a Friday and Saturday standpoint, so we'll give our thoughts on that. We heard from Carlie Gordon on Friday morning. In the Fever, they've played a couple games. They won in Portland on Friday. Yesterday, they played the best team in the league Made a impressive run there in the fourth quarter. I think was 2 the closest that they got it to?
Yes.
Cut it to 2, and then the Lynx answered, and honestly, the Fever got some great looks. Caitlin Clark missed a couple open threes. Kelsey Mitchell missed one as well, and the Lynx put the icing on that. Boy, Minnesota's really, really talented, and Olivia Miles made me think what could have been at Notre Dame had she not transferred.
Yeah, she's special. She was the best guard in that game. You're talking about a game where I thought Caitlin Clark played pretty good, probably wanted to shoot it better than she did, and then Kelsey Mitchell went off for 37, one less than her career high. But the defense, Kevin, I'm still worried about. I get that Minnesota, to their credit, I was looking it up yesterday, Kevin, they're on pace currently for the 5th best offense of all time in points per game. The Fever are averaging about 96 points per game, which would be the most all time. So your defense is going to struggle, I would assume, against a team that loaded. But still, I want to say that was their 5th loss this season, Kevin, when scoring at least 100 points. And I get the defense has been better during their winning streak that was snapped yesterday, but I still wonder, okay, can you get to that last tier, that top tier of teams, if your defense basically leaves you no room for error?
Nothing for the Fever until Thursday, so we'll be up here Thursday night for that night practice. The Fever will host the Aces as they are back at home. It'll be their first home game since the All-Star break. Mark Dykton, good Monday morning to you, sir.
Good morning, boys. I'm going to see you soon.
How was the weekend?
It was good. Golf
really?
yesterday, so that was a good time. Avoided all the crazy rain and storms that had been in the area, but had a good time with my dad, brothers, and uncles and cousins. So always a fun annual tradition, gets all the boys out in the family to get some golfing done. So told Kevin, be wary. There might be a hole-in-one incoming. There was no hole-in-one yesterday, but maybe the bachelor party will be a different story in a couple weeks, so we shall see.
I was nervous. I couldn't sleep thinking that you potentially had one there.
I know. I would have rubbed it in your face for the rest of eternity, too.
Now, you just said that you're going to see us soon. Do you mean Wednesday, or do you mean like you're going to make an appearance here or tomorrow?
I mean, the kids are in school all day, so never say never. I mean, I have time on my hands here, so, you know.
Look at that. A Mark Dykton Westfield appearance could be on the horizon. Let's not tease this. James, 2 practices since we last spoke. Anything in particular stand out to you? Let's save the Carlie Gordon combo maybe, but anything on the field. Outside Friday, indoors Saturday, their 2 longest sessions so far of camp.
I would say indoor Saturday, that was about as sharp as I've seen Daniel Jones look so far throughout camp. I think I had him 14 of 17 KB, might have been 13 of 16. None of this stuff is official when it comes to passing. But nevertheless, a lot of balls didn't really hit the ground. And he actually had a really nice throw to Tyler Warren there in the red zone for a touchdown. And I kind of got reminded of, oh, yeah, that dude's going to be a big part of the offense too. So that was a good thing for Daniel Jones and his progress. Everyone continues to say he never looks like he got hurt. And on top of that, Kevin, and I kind of waited to write about it because I want to see more today, but I thought Riley took the majority of the backup snaps Saturday night to conclude that first week of training camp.
Yeah, I would echo both of those. Tyler Warren, really nice leaping grab there kind of early in that Saturday practice. I thought Josh Downs had a nice route for a touchdown as well. The defense definitely had some red zone wins against the first-team offense. I mean, I was struck by just how much better the first-team offense moves the football than either the second or third units. The second and third units just really struggled, even with Riley Leonard having probably the highlight of Saturday, a huge deep ball to Nick Westbrook-Akine. But yeah, that to me is on the list for day 5 things to keep an eye out for. You know, again, as we get into week 2 of camp, obviously the pads come on, so truer evaluations begin. But, you know, to me, and this is what training camp is about, it's just about getting more sample size, just getting more evidence. Okay, now we're into day 2, or we're into week 2. What are the trends you saw in week 1, and do those continue?
Right.
You know, do you see position battles start to pop up? Do you see the same guys running out there with the starting units? And on Saturday, yeah, I had Riley Leonard for overwhelmingly more snaps than Anthony Richardson. Now, again, Shane Steichen was not at practice on Saturday. We of course, did not hear from him after practice, so assuming he is back today, that will definitely be something to watch for when practice gets underway. And then, of course, ask Shane about, do we see a separation at all with those guys. And shout out to Nick Westbrook-Akine. I thought he's put together a couple of practices now. Again, he had the big deep ball from Leonard on Saturday. I'm trying to think which day it was last week, but he had a couple of days with the starting unit with Daniel Jones where he made.
I think it was that Friday. He made a nice one with Daniel.
Made a couple of plays. So, again, we've debated obviously veteran wide receiver a whole lot. Is that a guy who honestly has the most resume? He's got the most recent resume of Ashton Dulin, of himself, and of Laquan Treadwell. He's got the most actual NFL wide receiver production really over the last couple of years in Miami, and then much more so in Tennessee prior to that. That is an Indiana product in Westbrook-Akine. So that would be something that I'm going to keep an eye out for as well. They look to be in pretty good health, right, through the first 4 days?
Yes, knock on wood. You hope it stays that way for this team. They're actually getting healthier, I would argue. We saw DeForest Buckner rejoin full team activities last week. I thought he got a little bit more of those opportunities on Saturday night, Kevin, to conclude the first week of practice. And then, of course, C.J. Allen was back after missing the first 2 practices, and he's kind of, I guess, transitioning to being right back into that linebacker mix. They've rotated a lot at that position, but still a good sign to see the second-round pick out there.
Yeah, and again, Alec Pierce watch will continue here to week 2. Chris Ballard said back last week that it would probably be a week or 2. The week mark would be tomorrow, and then 2 weeks, of course, would be coming up next Tuesday. So we'll continue to monitor things in regards to Alec Pierce. Again, the practice schedule for today and tomorrow, it's the 10 a.m. start times that we were used to last week here at Grand Park. That means Colt City will open up at 9 o'clock, and then I think we go a little over an hour. 11:15 and maybe even to 11:30 coming up tomorrow. So
11:30.
11:30 on Tuesday?
Yes.
So, yeah, practices start to get a little bit longer. Practices start to get a little bit more on the intense side from a pad standpoint. And obviously the guys in the trenches do love that. A lot of Carlie Gordon audio to get to. Mark Kevin Gosman, are we happy with what the Cubs have done from a starting pitching standpoint?
So far, so good. I like a starter from Toronto, so that's a good start. Hopefully, maybe another starter on the way or some relief pitching. So the Tarek Skubal sweepstakes, unsurprisingly, goes to the Dodgers. A couple other moves
that just
have been
pisses
made.
me off.
Well, are you mad at the Dodgers or are you mad at the rest of baseball?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like we were talking about at the outing yesterday.
Like, why are the Dodgers like the Duke of college basketball or whatever? Insert your college football. Like, it almost seems like the rest of Major League Baseball is a bunch of mid-major programs, and then when their players get good, they just send them to the Dodgers.
Like, inevitably, I feel like we're just going to see Paul Skeens in a Dodgers uniform at some point.
Sure.
Aaron Judge will find his way over there at some point. Like, whoever the best player is, they will get him somehow, some way.
Right. Yeah, and that's what frustrates me. I don't know if a lockout somehow saves that next offseason or what, but I was not too pleased. But today's the deadline, right? Later today,
Correct.
right?
Yep, later this afternoon.
Shout out to Max Clark. Pretty impressive debut for the Franklin products. We'll hit on that on a morning check down and a couple other big football items as the sun's starting to shine. It is a foggy Monday morning here in Westfield, Indiana. Thank you for starting your week off with us. We got a lot coming at you. Rick Venturi in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll get you set for practice number 5 here at the Droplight Grand Park campus. 93.5, 107.5. It is the Fan Morning Show.
been checked out. Brought to you by Bet365 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Week 2, Colts camp is here. This will be practice number 5 coming up on this Monday morning. It is supposed to be a full padded practice, the first one of camp. So a morning practice today, tomorrow, the night practice on Thursday. James Boyd, what are you watching for here as we get into week 2?
Again, I'm looking at the backup quarterback battle to see who's taking the lead there. We saw Riley Leonard take a majority of the snaps last Saturday, Kevin. And then beyond that, I do want to see what happens with the linebacker spots and the safety spots. We've seen a little bit of rotating throughout the first week of camp.
Fever action yesterday afternoon, I should say. They take on the Minnesota Lynx, two really of the best teams in the league, certainly playing-wise. Lynx have been outstanding all season long, and in true Fever fashion, plenty of points scored, plenty of points given up. Minnesota built a lead there somewhat early in that first half. They held it throughout. The Fever did make a furious rally there in the fourth quarter. There was that sequence, James, I thought was so fitting of the Fever cutting it to 2. I forget who it was from Minnesota, but right after they cut it to 2, they had a walk-in layup right after that. They actually blew the layup, but then Natasha Howard was right there.
McBride.
Yeah, so Caitlin McBride blows the layup, and then right there Natasha Howard is for the offensive rebound.
Yeah.
It was kind of fitting of the Fever offensively are so gifted, but then again, when the game is truly, truly on the line, they let up that bucket. Caitlin Clark comes down, misses a couple threes. Minnesota scores. Kelsey Mitchell missed a 3, and that pretty much ended it. After that, pretty entertaining game, though. And, I think just another reminder of some semblance of defense is going to be needed from the Fever if they want to be playing deep into the month of October.
Absolutely. I also thought, Kevin, there was a stretch there late. I want to say they were down 2. Caitlin comes off the pick and pop, and she throws it back to a wide-open Aaliyah, and Aaliyah turns down a three-point shot and tries to drive and travels. I thought that was a shot she needed to take in that moment, especially because she can make it. She's proven that she's a knockdown three-point shooter to her credit. So that was one where you could see Caitlin Clark telling her, just let it fly. So
the Fever did win on Friday. They were very impressive in that one. Caitlin Clark had a triple-double. Again, Kelsey Mitchell continues to score the you-know-what out of the basketball. So right now, that was a 2-1 road trip to start the second half of the season. They will take on the Las Vegas Aces on Thursday. So a quiet start to the week for the Fever. And their first home game coming back from the break will be Thursday with the Aces. Major League Baseball over the weekend. Shout out to Max Clark making his Major League debut, the Franklin Community product. He goes 3 for 4 Friday out there in Oakland in his actual debut. And then he goes yard on Saturday. And then yesterday, they put up 11 runs. He scored a run. He was 1 of 3 yesterday. So a very nice – how about that? Your first 3 games, you go hit, hit, hit. I mean, hell, you had, 3 hits in the opener, 2 hits on Saturday, and a hit yesterday. So excellent from Max Clark in his Major League debut.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I did see some of his posts on Instagram, and I always think, man, it must be pretty sweet to be that young doing what people our age, Kevin, still dream of doing.
Indianapolis Indians back at home this week. They've got the Iowa Cubs. They lost yesterday. Mark, are you pleased with your trade deadline acquisition of Kevin Gausman?
Yeah, that was solid. I would like to see a little bit more as well, but they need some pieces on the front of the rotation after all the injuries. So Gausman is solid. So nice to see him out of Toronto. And then can we get another reliever or 2 or maybe one more starter? So trade deadline later this afternoon. Some interesting moves being made all around baseball so far.
Yeah, again, trade deadline, as Mark said, it's not your July 31st as it was maybe a few years back. You've got it later today on this Monday. Speaking of today, I believe high school football practices getting underway as we get closer to scrimmages a week from Friday, and then Operation Football getting underway week 1 here a little bit later in the month of August. College football practices start this week. I believe Kurt Signetti and the Hoosiers underway coming up on Wednesday. James Boyd, the time is here. It's football season.
I'm ready for it. I still remember going to my first football practice for Indiana high school sports, and I went to Maryville, and the coach thought I was trying out to be a wide receiver. I had to tell him, one, I run a slow 40, but two, I was there to actually interview some of his wide receivers.
He's asking you to run the route tree, run a 9 route for him.
Good times.
So high school football practice getting underway coming up later today. And again, just set the scene here at the Droplight Grand Park campus. It is a morning practice today and tomorrow. Gates will open up here at 9 a.m. They will be off Wednesday. It is a night practice Thursday. That is 8 to 10 p.m. They'll actually bring in lights here to Grand Park. The night practice last year had a very heavy cadence. I mean, there was a ton of situational stuff. Shane Steichen really treated that as kind of a pseudo scrimmage, at least as close as you're going to get to it here in the training camp setting. The Colts will then be off on Friday, morning practices Saturday and Sunday, and then next week at Grand Park is super quiet. The team is out in Foxborough for a joint practice in their preseason opener. So if you have not been out here to Westfield yet, if you're looking to get out here, you've got a lot this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night, and then Saturday, Sunday morning. But next week will be very, very quiet. And then really it's those joint practices with the Atlanta Falcons to close things out here August 19th and 20th from Westfield. We heard from Carlie Gordon following the Friday practice here at Grand Park. We will play some of that audio for you. I would say Quentin Nelson, quite giddy in Quentin Nelson's world to put on the pads today. We'll hear from him as well and recap what we saw, 2 practices since we've last spoken here from Westfield. Fan Morning Show here on a Monday. Thank you for starting your week off with us. Looks to be a glorious one. Mark Dykton, let's get a little weather update.
We're going to have a pleasant start to the week with partly cloudy skies and high temperatures in the lower 80s this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear with a chance for patchy fog. Lows will fall into the mid-60s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
We grow hair, Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration, and they are ready to answer your questions today. Northwest side, that would be the Pyramids, building number 2 for We Grow Hair, Indy. Highly encourage you to contact them. Just get answers to the questions that you have. I've heard from many people over the years asking me, about my process, what it was like, what was the recovery like, what was prep, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm happy to answer them, but I also try to kind of nudge people, say, look, free evaluation, private evaluation, virtual evaluation, all of that is available to you at We Grow Hair Indy. So make sure you contact them today. Again, they are the gold standard for hair restoration, and they're ready to help you out. Northwest side, the Pyramids, building number 2, online, WeGrowHairIndy.com. The gold standard for hair restoration right here in our own backyard. It is We Grow Hair Indy.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, good Monday morning. Thanks for starting your week off with us, Westfield, Indiana. That's what we will call home for each of the next 2 days. Morning practices again for the Colts, and they start to kind of break up their cadence. A lot of afternoon practices, a lot of weekend practices is probably how I should put it, and then that night practice coming up on Thursday. But the expectation is some full pads coming on today, and perfect time to talk to Rick Venturi, and he will join us coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. It'll be Greg Rakestraw and Rick Venturi on your TV screens here through each of the 3 preseason games. Their first one coming up a week from Thursday. New knees for Rick Venturi. That man's moving good.
He is moving good. I was sitting next to him in our little Sprinter van when we got shuttled over from our media hotel to the indoor practice facility for Saturday's practice. KB, did it feel like a field trip to you? Because for me, I was like, I'm going on a trip with my boys.
Yeah, kind of a shorter field trip, and there's something about the yellow school bus. It's just a little different than the old Sprinter van. I don't know. Yellow school bus seems a little bit more, all-encompassing. The Sprinter van, I kind of felt like I was yelling to, rows in front of us there. But, Mother Nature was quite ugly on Saturday, so the Colts went indoors, but it looks great today, looks great tomorrow for a couple more of these morning practices. One thing I do want to get the audience opinion on, James, it sounds like we're going to record with Lou Anarumo after practice today, the second-year defensive coordinator for the Colts. And Lou Anarumo, that man likes himself some Italian food.
Right.
So for our audience out there, we need recommendations for Lou. I've got my thoughts on some Italian joints here locally. I think anything in the Indy area, probably a little bit more north side base, I believe, from a Lou residence standpoint. But give us as high-end and as blue-collar as you would like the Italian joints that you love here in the Indy area. Lou Anarumo needs his fix.
He does need his fix, but I'm not sure if he'll take us up on where he should go. The man has very high standards.
Very high standards. But we need to provide some options for him.
Okay. I think we can do that.
317-239-1070 on the text line. If you've got some suggestions for Lou, we'll throw those his way when he joins us here coming up, and you'll hear that.
Oh, come on, Austin. Not Olive Garden. You're trying to get the man
show.
to throw the mic down and leave us.
God, I do love Olive Garden. Austin, I'm not going to lie, man. I do love Olive Garden.
I feel like that's a sin to tell him that,
I know.
Keep that to yourself.
That's
I
good
love it,
value.
but
They got the never-ending pasta bowl. What are you talking about?
I know.
See, I can hear Lou Anarumo rolling his eyes already.
Yeah, he might throw the headset down if we suggest that to him here. We did hear Friday after practice, James, from Carlie Gordon. So, like her father, she has spoken here at training camp. It does sound like she will have her, or I should say the Ursay kind of annual appearance during the preseason broadcast as well. But anything in particular stand out to you from Carlie Gordon, chatting for about 10 minutes or so after practice on Friday?
Not necessarily. It was par for the course, Kevin, but I did find her opening statement kind of interesting with the whole find a way mantra that she's given the team. Did you have any grand takeaways from that? We didn't hear from her about Jonathan Taylor's contract, but that was not really newsworthy. She said she would love for him to be a Colt for life, but not a whole lot of meat on the bone.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is like earth-shattering to anybody out there, but, what you have with her response to the Taylor contract versus her response to the Ballard contract, two very different answers. She utters
that is true.
She utters a phrase about Jonathan Taylor, I hope he can be a Colt for life or something along those lines. I forget exactly what she said there. For Chris Ballard's answer, obviously it's not that. Which again, I think everyone out there would agree with that, but it is noteworthy that she said that. She certainly reiterated many times that she feels like they have everything they need and find a way. So Mark Dykton, let's go ahead and play that clip there. She shared her message to the team during a team meeting here to kick off training camp at Grand Park.
So I just wanted to start by sharing something that I spoke to the team about on Tuesday, and that was, as we reflected on last season, this one phrase just kept coming to my mind, and that was find a way. And so that was the mantra that we settled on kind of for this season. And we came to find a way because we thought about what are the qualities that successful people have. And those qualities are consistency. Those qualities are resilience in the face of adversity. And those qualities, most importantly, are a mental toughness and a find a way mindset. And I know and believe that on our roster and in our organization, we have everything we need this year to get where we need to go.
Find a way. I heard from quite a lot of people, oh my gosh, that sounds like the most elementary sort of mantra out there. I guess, well, whatever, maybe it is the high school poster you're slapping before you head out to the practice field. But I also don't think she's wrong. I mean, when you look at this team, and I always bring up the Houston Texans as this example, James. Texans have won, I believe it's 5 straight against the Colts.
Yes.
If you look at those 5 wins for the Texans, all 5 of them are by 1 score. Imagine if you flip 1 third down. Imagine if you get 1 key stop, 1 key turnover. The NFL is a league filled with parity. Point to the Seattle game last year. Point to, some of these other games. Atlanta easily could have gone one way or the other. Denver could have gone one way or the other. The Rams game certainly could have gone one way or the other. There's so many games like that, whatever. Just find a way. Sound like, again, something, Sheridan High School up here is going to, slap before they go on the practice field. Maybe. But this is a team that has struggled to win ugly. They've struggled to win low-scoring games. They have struggled to find a way. When the game has seemingly been sitting there on a platter for them, and it's either they convert 1 big third down or you convert it, that's what happens. C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins opposite sideline to ice the game last year. Houston makes that play. You don't make that play. So I understand where she's coming from. This is a team that has won 8 and 9 games each of Shane Steichen's 3 seasons. They're not winning 4 or 5 games.
Right.
I mean, they are typically, hovering in that area. So, that specific mantra, I mean, to me, it's fine. It's more of like we have everything in place. That's where I do struggle to see if you do have everything in place.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly there, Kevin. To go back to one part of her comment in regard to the find a way mantra, to me that was also one of her clearest messages, Kevin, in discussion of last season. You needed basically 1 win to stay in the thick of it. I'm not saying 1 win would have got you into the playoffs because we saw they missed the playoffs by a few games, but when that win streak or losing streak rather started, and it's 1 game, it's 2 games, it's 3 games, figure out how to just finish. And they have not been able to do that, whether it's a game-to-game thing or a season-to-season thing. I went back through it, Kevin. The Colts, amid this 5-year playoff drought, are 18 and 27 in the months of November, December, and January. Now, some of that is skewed by like the abysmal 2022 season. But the bottom line is if you go to every season where they had a quote-unquote must-win game, they were not able to find a way. So I agree with her there. I know people can still be mad about the idea of running it back with Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen and even Daniel Jones. But at this point, she's made her decision in that regard. So now it's time to look at, okay, what will change? And that has to change if you want to have success in 2026.
I felt like yesterday, I don't know if I'm sure you did as well, but I heard from quite a few fans when they saw the announcement. You see Jadeveon Clowney going to the Texans?
I did see that, and I did not feel great about it, to be honest. And I saw a lot of fans react to it, at least to me on my social media, Kevin. This is a guy who had 8.5 sacks last year in 13 games. For the Cowboys, also had, I believe, 12 tackles for loss. So you add that to a group that was already pretty dynamic, and I would say the best defense in the league, the rich get richer.
I'd be hard-pressed to find the last time the Colts had a pass rusher with the ratio of 8.5 sacks in 13 games.
Yeah, and, I mean, you're talking about –
and he's obviously going to be a reserve rusher.
I was going to say, I was going
to
add that in.
Clear,
like,
yeah.
You're talking about a guy who basically gets to come in fresh after Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. give you nightmares.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where, like, something I asked Carlie on Friday was like, she used the phrase higher sense of urgency in January. Do you felt like the offseason had a higher sense of urgency? Because I would argue their offseason was rather boring from an acquisition standpoint. And part of it is you don't have a first-round pick. But, like, look, their most notable free agent acquisition was who?
their own players, but beyond that,
outside of the building.
Arden Key, maybe. And he's a rotational defensive end.
Yeah, so that's where I'm like, okay, do those words in January meet the actions?
Yeah.
But, her words, we have everything we need. She repeated that so many times on Friday. So clearly, you can view that one of two ways. One, it's just owner speak a month before the season starts. Two, if she truly means that, then this obviously is a monumental season for the hierarchy of their organization.
And, Kevin, I'm just curious to see how much that actually plays itself out. Like, is this the year where it's playoffs or else? She won't say that right now. We don't know what the threshold is. But like you said, there was a clear understanding of Shane and Chris know that there's urgency there. And I'm curious to see, again, what does that look like? What does that mean? Because haven't you had urgency the last 5 years? And it hasn't resulted in anything positive.
Practice number 5 for the Colts. The dew coming off the field here at the Drop Light Grand Park campus. Full pads expected, I would assume, quite a lot this week. That's typical under a Shane Steichen training camp. You have this ramp-up period. Really, the NFL mandates your week 1 ramp-up period, and then things get a little bit more physical here into week 2. I will say this kind of put a bow tie on week 1, James. Daniel Jones, I thought you hit it pretty well there in the opening segment. Very efficient on Saturday when they went indoors. Very methodical. He had a couple nice red zone periods there, and really that was probably the highlight from the offense. There wasn't much movement of the football for their second and third unit outside of a big deep ball from Riley Leonard to Nick Westbrook-Akine. But if you would have, if you would have stopped me last December, maybe the Tuesday after Daniel Jones tears his Achilles, and you would have said, Kevin, let's fast forward to late July, early August. You're in Westfield, Indiana. The Colts will have just gotten done with 4 straight days of practice to start camp, and Daniel Jones will have taken every single starting rep. And when you watch him, there might be a hint of an ailment, but for the most part, his efficiency, the velocity on him throwing the football will be unnoticeable, and they will be comfortable as a coaching staff, and Daniel Jones will be comfortable as a quarterback to do some outside of the pocket stuff, to do some movement stuff, to do some scrambling. To me, like kind of walking out of that indoor facility on Saturday night was just a reminder of like, wow, the Colts had 4 straight practices to start camp, a lot of veteran rest days for some guys around Daniel Jones, and he just took every single starting rep, 8 months removed from tearing his Achilles. It's quite impressive, really.
It really is. And I know the players are always going to be supportive of their teammates, and they pretty much tell you every time someone gets hurt and they come back, oh, they look better than before. They're 100% healthy. But the beauty of this, Kevin, is that unlike when this happens during the season and before that player plays in a game again, we get to see all of the progress ourselves up close through these training camp practices. And from my own eyes, Kevin, just speaking for me, I don't think it looks like he's ever been injured. Now, I'm sure he could tell us where he is relative to his pre-injury form, but that's a very great sign. A shout out to modern medicine because these were career-ending injuries 20, 30 years ago, and now it's, less than a year when you can be back on the grass doing your thing. And then we'll see as we get closer to the season, and it's a real game is what it looks like, but so far so good.
Boy, Mark, the text line's making me hungry.
Yeah, there's some solid recommendations in there.
Well, you set yourself up, KB. You set us up.
Man, we're asking for Italian recommendations in the area for one Lou Anarumo. This man, and again, James, he treats his Italian like whatever. You treat your sneakers.
I was going to say, treats it like, Nelly Bowen.
Yeah, 100%. This is like one of his born. I believe all his kids were born, in West Lafayette, actually. He spent quite a bit of time up there at Purdue under Joe Tiller and a little bit of Danny Hope's staff. But, yeah, Lou Anarumo is going to join us after the show today. We'll record that and play it for you tomorrow. But I wanted to make sure we had some legit Italian. And I feel like I know, good Italian, but, boy, I mean.
But when you say legit, that's when I get nervous. Because what if you throw out a restaurant or someplace you think is amazing, and he's just like, eh.
I know. He's going to judge you forever, right?
I know.
But we're going to deliver him some options,
Okay.
and then we'll let him, date night's Friday night in the NFL season. So, maybe him and the missus can cross off 18 different over the course of the season. So we'll chat with Lou coming up. Again, Rick Venturi at 9. Lou Anarumo will play that for you upcoming on tomorrow's show. We have noted this here in the opening hour, but, something that I'll be keeping an eye on today, and I know you will as well. Saturday, I thought Riley Leonard took the vast majority
yes.
of the second-team quarterback reps. That is a stark difference from how we saw the first 3 days of camp. And again, Shane Steichen can approach this one of two ways. James, he opts for, I'm going to let them split reps within practice.
Right.
Some coaches have gone for, you get one day, you get the other day, and just kind of break it up in that sense. Shane's like, if we have a third down day, I want both of them, to get third down reps. So I understand what Shane's thinking there with that. But it was definitely Riley Leonard on Saturday in the indoor facility. Is that something we see continue? I don't know if I don't really think Riley Leonard has been overwhelmingly better than Anthony Richardson. One thing that's quite alarming, probably more with Richardson than Leonard, but man, there's been so many snap issues. And some of this is on the centers too, to be clear. But like Friday out here, they had one period where Richardson just flat out dropped the snap, and then the next play he gets sacked. And it's just like, we're talking the elementary operation of a snap in an NFL setting. And again, some of this is on the centers. Some of it is also on just these quarterbacks mishandling things. And we haven't chatted with Anthony yet, but whatever we do, it's probably worth bringing up, James. Remember, when he first got back in December, he mentioned he had some snap issues. The vision-wise impacted him a little bit in that area. I don't know if that is popping up at all, but, boy, when the second and the third offenses get out there, you don't need to move those first down markers many times.
No, not at all. And it's been stagnant. And honestly, Kevin, when I look at this team, I think they'll go as far as number 17 goes, and if he does have to miss time, which he has throughout his career, you have to hope that it's just a short window, because I don't think either quarterback, Riley or Anthony, serving as the backup, could really get you where you want to go if they have to play an extended period of time, quite frankly.
So, again, it's coming up 10 a.m. today, and some full pads expected to be put on here for the Colts. Shout out to Nick Westbrook-Akine. We'll say he's a guy that's flashed here the last couple of practices. The IU wideout caught a really nice deep ball from Riley Leonard in the indoor facility on Saturday. Made a couple plays with the starting offense on Friday. So the Colts are looking for someone to emerge there. And I would say that is something that I saw. One thing to note here, and we can maybe get into this more in the 8 o'clock hour. Did you catch it all? We saw Deebo Samuel sign with the 49ers. Did you see Ian Rappaport mention one other team in terms of like Deebo sweepstakes, if you will, and it was the Colts. And I'm kind of struck by that. Like, sometimes you see these signings happen around the league and, whatever, these NFL insiders will mention, 3 or 4 teams that possibly had interest, but he only mentioned one, and that was Deebo Samuel. Does that give you any sort of intel, read, anything on the Colts and their interest in potentially adding a veteran wideout?
Well, it seems like it was for real, but at the same time, Kevin, I do think that there are times where the Colts are often the bridesmaid. Why don't you ever land these kind of players? If there was interest, what was stopping you from going out and getting a player of his caliber? Mainly because you have the cap space, and it's not like you're going to sign him to a long-term deal. So I'm curious, and we probably will never find out publicly, but what was maybe the point of we're not going to get this guy, or you weren't able to land this person because of what?
Now, Deebo's a very different wideout than I would say like Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Deebo, he has some of that like running back by extension.
Right. He just
Skill
like
set.
get the ball in his hands and let him kind of try and do his thing.
Yes, but I think his versatility mixed in with the mind of Shane Steichen would create for some cool plays and opportunities to really create explosive plays, because that's the key to any successful NFL offense.
Tim asking about the kicker competition. You giving Blake Groupie the slight lead early on?
I would. I think that he was, or actually I know he was 6 for 6 last Friday, Kevin. And Spencer Schrader was 5 for 6. He missed one from 50 wide left. And in the last public kicking competition we saw in the spring, it went the same way with Blake Groupie making all of his kicks and Spencer Schrader missing one of his kicks. I know afterward, Brian Mason, the Colts special teams coordinator, said that he expected some rust from Spencer Schrader because he's coming off of the knee injury from last year, but he's fully healthy now. He's just getting back into a rhythm, but at the same time, you're not getting back into a rhythm by yourself. You got one guy, I would say, not just on your heels, but has surpassed you, in my mind, on the depth chart in this kicking competition.
Mark, I don't think I have the self-control really to do Olive Garden.
In regards to the never-ending possible?
Or is that good?
Well, probably in regards more to the breadsticks.
The breadsticks
I just can't say
great.
I just can't say no. And then by the time the main course comes, I'm like, oh, gosh, I got nothing left in the stomach.
Now, is that with all bread? Because I feel the same way at, like, Texas Roadhouse. They bring those rolls out there, and I'm like,
the Texas Roadhouse.
Exactly.
I got to enjoy the roll.
It's so true. And honestly, this might be more of a me thing. I kind of feel that way about, like, family gathering, like cheese and crackers. I'm like, why am I the one? I keep on coming back, and I feel like I'm the one that's eating all of this.
Yeah.
But I can't say no.
I agree. Same way with Mexican restaurants when they bring the chips and salsa.
I'm like, please fill up the bowl, but please don't.
You
know?
Right.
All the salt
These are good problems
intake,
to have.
but it's so good.
I know, and then you start thinking about, okay, well, if I eat this, I can do this workout, or hey, I've been good this week, I deserve this, and you're just lying to yourself.
I've been sweating in Westfield, right?
Yeah, they've got to count for some calories being lost.
Oh, boy, we got some great Italian restaurants here. Again, we got Louis Anarumo. We're going to record with him after the show today, so we're asking for the best Italian joints around the area. And Lou is a guy, I mean, he doesn't want, he is not here to half-ass these decisions.
That's why it makes it scary. Like, I almost hate recommending food to people who are very
well, that's why I'm pawning it off.
Not picky, but
I'm pawning it off on the audience.
Yeah, because I'm always like, what if I'm just too broke to really have better taste buds? Like, what if it's what's good to me is because I can only afford to really eat this ever in my life?
I know. So true. So true. So thank you to all of our listeners that have reached out. We'll continue to gather some, share those throughout the show, and certainly alert that to Lou here coming up in a bit. On site, it'll be Rick Venturi in the 9 o'clock hour. Looking forward to getting his thoughts here early in camp. Boy, do you think he woke up with a pep in his step, knowing the full pads are coming on?
Oh, he always does. Absolutely. He might try to line it up himself.
Man, he's got the fresh knees. He's looking good. So him and Greg Rakestraw will have your TV coverage, preseason football. We are less than 2 weeks away, a week from Thursday. Out there in New England, it'll be Colts and Patriots, and really a week from today, the Colts will be heading to Foxborough. So if you haven't been out to Grand Park yet, this week will be a busy one. Morning practice today, tomorrow, night practice, legit night practice, 8 to 10 o'clock. We're talking they'll bring lights here to Grand Park for that. Saturday and Sunday morning, they'll have sessions as well, and then they really will leave Westfield for about 4 to 5 days. They'll have a joint practice out there in Foxborough, and then, again, take on New England in that preseason game. And then they'll be back here to wrap up camp for a few weekend practices, a couple joint days with the Atlanta Falcons. Good Monday morning to you. Looks to be beautiful. Chamber of Commerce in Hamilton County, the Droplight Grand Park Campus Fan Morning Show on a Monday. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. It's indoor and outdoor concrete. I mean, I'm looking out here. The concrete Grand Park. Maybe I should alert them of Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Garages, basements, patios, porches, and the sidewalk that I'm looking at right now. That's what Galaxy Concrete Coatings can help you out with online. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. I would say a visit there makes sense. Aesthetically, you're going to find something that could potentially could fit your residence or your workplace. And from there, you got to love the manufacturers upgrade the warranty from 15 years to lifetime. And at the same time, very efficient process on site for us, in and out in about 24 hours. So again, that's indoor and outdoor concrete. It's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Garages, basements, patios, porches, and sidewalks. Contact them today. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
It'll be more physical when you put the pads on. You'll hear a lot more banging out there, and it's just even more like football, being able to grab on to those shoulder blades a lineman never grabbed. We just put our hands on, and but we love it when the pads come on. You callous your body, you get sore from all the hits you take and all the hits you give, and it's fun.
Foaming at the mouth, one Quentin Nelson. That was after Saturday's practice indoors, describing what today is going to feel like for him and the hog mollies up front as the full pads come on. That might be the most expansive, detailed answer I've heard from Quentin Nelson in his 8 years in the NFL.
I was going to say, you got him to open up. Basically bared his soul. Laid on the couch for you, KB.
Man, he describes that like Lou Anarumo describes Italian food. We're getting some excellent suggestions. We're going to record with Lou after practice today. We'll play the interview upcoming for you. Boy, some of these, I mean, I am starving on this Monday morning here. Catello's and Pendleton, the owners from Italy. This might be my favorite here. Tell Lou I'm 6'3" and 375 pounds. I know what I'm talking about. Rosemary and Olive off of Mass Ave.
Okay.
Frank's Place in Danville.
There's some Laria's love here. Am I saying that correctly?
Iarias.
Is it I or L?
Iarias. Yeah. Right off college. I mean, that is a staple upon staple. Mama Carola's, of course, in Central Indy as well.
I've been to Iarias many times, and I can vouch for that place, even though I can't pronounce it correctly.
People are saying the Italian house in Westfield could drink a gallon of their vodka sauce. It's incredible. That seems like a heavy endorsement right there. Man, this is great here.
Are you a big eat before the show guy? Because now I'm like more hungry than I would have been had we been talking about football instead of food, KB.
No, I do peanut butter on an English muffin. That's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Usually grab and go. Today I got the apple. Usually have the bananas.
We are live here, Westfield, Indiana, where we are at the Droplight Grand Park campus. Practice number 5 upcoming today. Number 6 will be tomorrow, and then an off day Wednesday night practice on Thursday. What does kind of full pads mean to you, James, in terms of an evaluation point?
I think you get to see a little bit more of the defensive speed because there's so much care for not getting close to the offense and not injuring anybody. I'm not saying you're going to go out here and just start hitting people, but I think the defense can play a tick faster, and that can determine, at least from our estimation, Kevin, how successful the offense might have been.
Yeah, I would say, is there anything that we now see from a competition standpoint on the O-line? Again, I've been skeptical. You know, when Jalen Farmer was drafted, I think a lot of people thought, okay, you know, he could compete with Matt Gonzalez at right guard. I was kind of skeptical of that. I feel like the Colts like their starting 5 up front. We have not seen one rep that's been different than their starting 5 here at Grand Park so far from an offensive line standpoint. Does full pads change anything like that? You know, listen to Quentin Nelson describe it. It's different. You know, having to practice without
but they don't grab
those on, but they don't grab. He wanted to make that very clear on Saturday. So, do we see anybody emerge, de-emerge, for lack of a better English language there? You know, from the trench play. You know, starting job opposite Latu. Latu right now is, you know, Arden Key versus Jalen Tuimoloau. You know, how does that play out with the full pads coming on? So I would say those are some of the things that I'll probably be keeping an eye on. You know, do they have a little bit more run game centric stuff? You know, a guy that continues to, I think, flash a bit for me, and I watch him and I'm like, boy, I don't see a lot of rookie in him, is the 7th round pick Seth McGowan, the running back out of Kentucky. Like,
I see a lot of dog in him.
Yeah. And first off, he's built.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like tall, big running back.
Yeah.
He had 12 touchdowns in the SEC last year, and it's not like, you know, Kentucky's offensive line was, you know, a bunch of studs up front. So he's a name that has kind of caught my eye here through the first week or so of camp.
He definitely has earned the right to be in that running back 2 conversation, and I would honestly give him the lead right now over a 2025 5th-round pick, DJ Giddens. And I know you alluded to it earlier, Kevin, but for those who are tuning in for the 8 o'clock hour, I think that Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has made some plays throughout the team periods here, whether it's been Daniel Jones or Riley Leonard or Anthony Richardson. I think that he's shown the ability to move the chains and create some of those explosive plays. So we'll see if that factors in or how that factors into the wide receiver depth chart.
Man, you got people suggesting Italian places in South Bend. Does Lou Anarumo strike you as a dude that's going to drive 2 hours?
No. I don't think he's got time for that.
Rocco's. Oh, boy, does Rocco's not sound like just a great Italian restaurant?
That does. But I'm dying on the Iarias hill.
We're going to throw a lot of these towards Lou Anarumo when he joins us here. This from Greg. Any update on Chavarius Ward and a Guardian cap for at least full pads of training camp? It's a good question. You know, so far, Mooney had a veteran rest day on Friday. He was back out there Saturday. and he was not wearing a Guardian cap. So again, he mentioned he's updated his helmet to be a little bit more of whatever concussion safe, if you will. But he has yet to wear the Guardian cap. But to your point, Greg, I guess I'll be curious now in full pads. Also, too, there's part of me didn't Jonathan Taylor wear it last year or maybe 2 years ago in practice, and then just didn't like the feel of it? So you would think
he wore it in a preseason game.
Yeah, you would think this would be the time to kind of test those things out. There was one rep Saturday that really stood out to me, James, and Tyler Warren and Josh Downs both had some nice touchdown catches in a red zone period early in practice. But there was a rep later on in the red zone with the starting offense versus the starting defense. Josh Downs lined up outside, Sauce Gardner opposite him. And it's not often I would describe a corner versus a receiver as mouse in the house. But that's how I would describe that rep. You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you?
I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Daniel Jones tries to kind of rifle one to Josh Downs on a quick rhythm play over the middle, and it was the 6'3" Sauce Gardner legally going right over the top of the 5'9" Josh Downs, and it didn't have a prayer of being completed. And usually you kind of see the reverse, like the wide receiver's the bigger player, can box out the corner a little bit. That was not that at all.
I'm very curious to see how Josh Downs looks as he continues to line up outside for different opportunities, Kevin, because I will say going against Sauce Gardner, one of the best outside cornerbacks, period, in the league, it's probably not going to end well with that size difference, but I wonder if it could be kind of a precursor to what we see with other bigger cornerbacks, because Josh is very good when it comes to creating space, option routes, intermediate routes, things like that. But outside, you really can't make up for the height deficit.
Yeah, it's just to me, like for Downs to get open, it's so much more predicated on the slot. Potentially you have a linebacker safety on him. He's kind of the quick twitch player. Like when you get – and I understand Sauce is not every corner in the NFL. I mean,
exactly,
he is 6'3", but, boy, when you start to get him outside and some of those bigger corners can kind of get physical with him, that is a huge question that I would have from a wide receiver standpoint. But shout out to Nick Westbrook-Akine. He's had a couple nice days. And again, the IU product, kind of been a journeyman around the NFL, primarily in Tennessee. Most recently was with Miami. Miami was a disaster on many fronts last season, but that was the veteran free agent move the Colts made this offseason at wideout. And even if you look at Deion Burks being drafted in the 7th round, I noticed him a little bit on Saturday, but I haven't noticed him too much, and his body type is nowhere near what you're losing to Michael Pittman Jr. So I have noticed him a little bit more here in recent days. So we'll see if he can string a few more together. 10 a.m. the start time here. Colts City coming to life. Gates opening up in 50 minutes at Grand Park. They'll go for a little bit over an hour today. What did you make of Carlie Gordon's answer on leaving Grand Park?
I thought her word choice was interesting. She said it wasn't a financial decision, but more about operational efficiency. Now, I don't have an economics degree or an engineering degree, but what do you think operational efficiency means?
I'm going to guess there's a financial line somewhere there, right?
Might be, a little bit. But more than anything, I just want to know, and they haven't hammered it out quite yet, but, okay, what does the fan experience look like for training camp in the future? Like, I look over here, and I'm seeing some of the volunteers throw the football around, and like you said, in about an hour, we'll really see a lot of fans come out here and enjoy themselves, not just from the football perspective, but from the experience perspective. So what does that look like when you go back home to your practice facility where we've been? We're there often throughout the season, Kevin, and it's just not logistically feasible to have this many people. So what changes do you make to try to accommodate as many fans as you can?
Yeah, you're not replicating this at all. Simply. I mean, you just can't. And I understand the NFL has now gone with this trend. The Colts are, frankly, one of the last teams to camp off-site. But it's just, Jake and I had this conversation Friday after Carlie spoke of, to me, this is so important for the young, common fan that's not a season ticket member. That's not sitting up top here at Grand Park underneath that tent getting whatever, the free drinks and the free food. Like, understandably, there are plenty of perks for the season ticket members, the corporate sponsors, all of that. To me, when you shift gears to your complex, you're so limited in space, I'm afraid it's only going to be for that. And training camp has been kind of a lifelong thing that connects I think you to so many fans that simply just, frankly, probably can't afford to come to even a preseason game. Like if you're going to spend face value tickets on a preseason game, pay for parking, pay for a couple different concession items. I mean, that's a couple $100. And so I just think, I mean, today's practice is free. It's $5 for parking. It's so accessible, and how you try to simulate that, I think it's going to be very difficult. And, people say, oh, they'll just host a practice at Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil is not intimate. It's an NFL stadium. Like, it's not, it's nowhere near what you have set up here. This is such a perfect setup. I'm always struck by whenever.
Brought up even like the high school.
Right. I'd love to see high schools involved. I'd love to see them go to high school, stadiums for some of their, one-off practices to fans. The Butler Bowl, UIndy, Marion, some of these places that kind of help you connect a little bit. I'm always struck, James, whenever the joint practices happen and you see these other NFL teams come to this facility and they're just blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just in awe of the setup, the fans. It's funny, they come over to where we're at, the northwest part of the fields up here at the Droplight Grand Park campus. They do their media in these tents, and so then they get a glimpse of the Colts city here in the background.
Yeah.
And they look over, they're like, oh my gosh, look at all this from a fan interaction standpoint. My mom and dad brought Rosie and Max here and Nellie the other day, and seeing the faces of, Max and Rosie just loving, whatever, a cheerleader autograph or, made a little card, just like those sort, get, a high five from Blue, just all of that I think is, I'm really going to miss it. So yeah, operational efficiency. You and I both have the same economic background, James. I'm going to venture to guess there's a financial component to it. And I get logistically it's a lot. I'm not going to be naive to it. I understand moving your operation for 3 or 4 weeks is a lot, but it just really bums me. Frankly, the NFL has trended in this direction.
Yeah, not so great, but I do have a question in regard to Colt City. How was Max Bowen looking out there? Should we start getting our NIL package together right now, or more work needs to be done?
He had trouble. So have you seen one of the things over there is pulling a flag off?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually
Yeah.
a cool little element for the new sport, especially when it comes to some of the girls here in our state.
So, picture a wall with a bunch of flags Velcroed onto it, and then you have to, whatever, they set the timer at X amount of seconds, and,
that sounds cool.
you're trying to pull the flag off there. He had some frustration, and then to say that he let it out in a very demonstrative manner, would be an understatement.
My boy is passionate.
Yeah, which, you know what? There are worse things to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need a little of that, a little razzle-dazzle. Try to snatch the flag.
Mark Dykton, you got some date night spots here coming in on the old text line with all these people reaching out about the Italian joints around town.
I need them. Me and Lou both need them. Maybe like a double date night. Me and Ashley and Lou Anarumo and his wife. Talk some ball.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going
and then
there.
Mark sits down and tells the waiter or waitress, "Hey, looking at this menu, I'll just take the salad."
Excuse
Mark
me.
showing
What are
Lou.
your finest chicken strips, please?
This reminds me. Can I tell you a story real quick?
Mark
This
showing
had
Lou
to
pictures
be-
of Buc-ee's.
I forget where we were. This was around New Year's Eve or Christmas. We're on the road. Everything's pretty much closed. I wanted to go to Waffle House with my boy Nate Atkins, who now covers the Rams for The Athletic.
Gosh, I love me some Waffle House.
Colts Indie Store reporter. Yes.
I love the menu at Waffle House.
Trying to find Waffle House. I go to one, I think Waffle House. It was under construction. I'm going to find something else. It was the only thing open around the holidays. This man could not wait to eat. So he Googles what's open, goes to the Ritz-Carlton. I get there. I have a stipend, to eat, and, the family, or not the family, the company treats me pretty well on company dime. But we sit down, and all I can afford at the Ritz-Carlton due to my stipend was a salad. And I'm like, I could have been eating grapes at Waffle House for like $13. Almost ended our friendship in that moment. Gosh, patience is a virtue, people.
Oh, man, that is an understatement. Boy, now you got me thinking about Waffle House. Okay, this from a texter here. Ciao, KB. How about that? Anytime they start off with that, I mean, you got to know that you're dealing with someone that might as well be, born in Rome. Here goes. Here's the definitive list in India, and I believe this would be in order: Capri, Cortona, which is in Fortville, Nesso, Iozas, Boca, Vicino, Mama Carola's, Monte, Ambrosia. I forgot about Ambrosia. Yeah, Ambrosia, yeah. And then he says if Lou is in Cincinnati, definitely go to Soto's, Nicola's, Mama's on Main, or Pep and Dolores. Boy.
This is thorough.
We got some thorough ones. Mark, have you ever heard of this place in Beech Grove? People keep on mentioning it. Napoli Villa, if I'm saying that correctly?
No, I have not.
We got to talk to Mike Chappell about this.
I'm not sure. Is he the right person to ask?
Well, I mean, I'm not asking him to order vegetables. I'm just asking him to eat some bread and pasta.
Okay. Let's hope that he does eat that.
I have been to that Maliana in Fountain Square. I actually used to live in Fountain Square. That is a good spot. Yeah, Catello's in Pendleton. Several people have mentioned this. The Italian House in Westfield. So that must be close by?
Yeah, people keep saying it's about 5 minutes from here. Maybe a little post-practice lunch for you.
Man, this is we're getting a lot here. Chatting with Lou Anarumo after practice today. We'll play that upcoming for you tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the Sauce Gardner, Mo Alley Cox, Josh Downs, Tyler Warren. Trying to think who else we've chatted with so far at training camp. Potentially, I'd say quite a name coming up on Wednesday's show, but we'll wait to confirm that with you here a little bit later in the week. Practice field starting to come to life here at Grand Park. Mark Dykton, let's go ahead and check it out.
The Morning Checkdown, brought to you by Suave Men Refreshing Face and Body Wash on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let's yank the wheel a little bit, and let's put Mark Dykton here on the spot. Mark, I've seen you've had some Twitter predictions, and we've gotten some YouTubers asking, let's get Mark's thoughts on SummerSlam.
SummerSlam was pretty good, I thought. The main event, it was 2 nights, both in Minnesota Vikings Stadium. Night 1 saw Obafemi defeat Brock Lesnar and I think put him in retirement for good in a Hell in a Cell match. CM Punk beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And then last night we saw Roman Reigns defeat Seth Rollins, his arch nemesis, for the Undisputed Champion or the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event there. So overall, a very, very good show. Kevin Owens returned. That was the music I played in the Rejoinder with Quentin Nelson. He's one of my favorites. So good to see overall a pretty solid 2 days of pro wrestling. So very, very happy to see that.
Did you see our boy Will Levis, Mark, saying that he's one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL? Do you think his Mayo coffee got spiked?
I saw that and I commented. He said there's not 32 quarterbacks better than me. I was like, that's right. There's about 50. So, yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what he was smoking on that one. I'm like, 420 was a little while ago. I think we're a little past that.
He had some moonshine in his Mayo
he
coffee.
Must have had something. I don't know, hitting that Gatlinburg ganja or something like that because, yeah, I don't know what he was talking about.
Oh, the Gatlinburg ganja. I can't say I'm familiar with that. Fill me in during the break here, Mark Dykton, on that. All right, live in Westfield. That's where we are. It's a morning practice. Day 5, full pad scheduled to come on here at Grand Park. We're 10 a.m. to 11:15 today. I believe that stretches to 11:30 coming up tomorrow. So morning practice Monday, Tuesday. James, what's on your mind here, day 5 at Colts camp?
Let's talk backup quarterbacks. I know a lot of the attention, deservedly so, is going toward Daniel Jones, but we did see a significant change in the snap distribution for the backups on Saturday with Riley Leonard. I thought Kevin taking the majority of the snaps over Anthony Richardson Sr. Will that continue today, or will it flip-flop back to sort of the more even approach we've seen?
I think I might have butchered how to say that one in Beech Grove. People are saying that I butchered the pronunciation on that here.
We need voice to text on the text line.
Yeah, I'm struggling here with my dumb Indiana drawl that comes out of my mouth here. Yes, so Monday, Tuesday morning, Thursday night practice, Saturday and Sunday morning sessions as well. Fever yesterday, James, highly entertaining game. Them and the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx, boy, they are really, really talented. Olivia Miles, again, had me thinking of what should have been at Notre Dame with Hannah Hidalgo, Sonia Centrone, and her. But nonetheless, tough to guard her, and the Fever cut it to 2 there late. Could not get the necessary stops and buckets to get over the big ol' hump. But nonetheless, 2-1 road trip for them. But some semblance of defense will be needed if they're going to make a big run here come postseason time.
That was their 5th loss this season when scoring 100 points or more. I believe that is a WNBA record, and the wrong side of the record you want to be on.
Kelsey Mitchell, 37 yesterday for her. She continues to score at an exceptionally high level.
So she's 1 game away from tying the WNBA record for 20 points per game consecutively. So she's at 14 games right now. She could get to 15 come Thursday against the Aces, who, by the way, the record is held by Asia Wilson.
So, again, that's reaching 20 points, at least 20 points, in, what'd you say, 15 straight games?
Yep, she's done it 14 times. 15 would tie the all-time record.
So nothing for the Fever until Thursday. As James said, it's the Aces. Actually, the first home game the Fever have had in quite some time. First home game here of the second half. MLB trade deadline is today. Some scores from yesterday. Cubs losing to the Yankees. White Sox continue their storied season here over the A's. The Reds got another series win over the Pirates. Cardinals over the Blue Jays. Shout out to Max Clark. A big old debut weekend for him. 3 for 4 Friday. Homer on Saturday. Had another hit yesterday out there. I'm now all in on the Tigers after they traded Skubal. It just pisses me off how the MLB just treats their small market teams and how everybody runs to play to for the Dodgers here. So shout out to Max Clark. Great weekend debut for him. Indianapolis Indians back at home this week with the Iowa Cubs. High school football practice underway today. We'll get things started on the college gridiron later this week, and so we'll start to get you set here for college football as the month of August is here. We'll do some goats of the weekend on the other side. Still got a lot to get the scene set for here on this Monday morning. Rick Venturi going to join us in the 9 o'clock hour. Always enjoy our chats with the coach. You'll hear him and Greg Rakestraw on the preseason TV broadcast coming up again this year. You'll hear him and Matt Taylor on those weekly podcasts. Always a great listen there on the Colts Audio Network. Life is being had here in Westfield. It's coming to life. The practice field, Colts City, full pads strapped on today for the first time here in 2026. Good Monday morning to you. Thanks for spending it with us. Fan Morning Show on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
We're going to have a pleasant start to the week with partly cloudy skies and high temperatures in the lower 80s this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear with a chance for patchy fog. Lows will fall into the mid-60s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
We grow hair Indy, the northwest side. That would be building number 2 at the Pyramids. They are the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration, and they are ready to help you out today. Again, it is something, honestly, that I was kind of curious about when I first connected with them was what would the recovery process look like? I knew day of procedure was going to be a long day, kind of a 9 to 5 sort of ordeal, but how quickly would I be back at work? What was that whole situation? And it wasn't too stressful really at all. I did have to sleep upright for a few nights. That was definitely a question that I had. But outside of that, I was back at work on a Monday. I actually took a vacation with some buddies that next weekend, traveled down to Tennessee. I took in my first SEC football game, and that wasn't anything from a stressful standpoint whatsoever. So again, those are some of the questions that I had. I assume you will have questions as well. So that's why you contact We Grow Hair Indy. Free evaluation, private evaluation, virtual evaluation. All of that is available to you. The gold standard for hair restoration, it's We Grow Hair Indy. Northwest side and online, WeGrowHairIndy.com.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Live here, Westfield, Indiana, Grand Park is where we are. Andy, come say hey on the text line. Heading to camp, would love to say hello. Yes, we are here, northwest part of the practice fields, right in between those fields and the Colts City. Gates open up at 9 o'clock. We'll be out here today and tomorrow, so certainly stop by and say hey. One thing we haven't mentioned yet today, James, and it's just the chaos of the state of college athletics. Did you see this new 5 for 5, and now players that have just wrapped up their college careers potentially now going back to college to get a 5th year?
Yeah, I did see that. I was actually watching a TikTok athlete that I follow, and
boy, sounds like Mark Dykton's HR representation.
Careful now.
Oh, no. It's a basketball. It's a basketball player, and he was saying that he thinks about going back. And what would that mean for his career? Would a team want him? And I just think it freezes out a lot of, or even more, of the high school athletes from getting opportunity.
So we talked about this a few weeks ago with Jeff Rabjohns. Remember Sam Alexis at IU? He joined the roster on this foreign tour to go to Peru. And so at the time, there seemed to be a lot but there seemed to be a lot of smoke, and that's why we asked Rabjohns about that. And then, yes, at the time, there's nothing to see here. And then you got Sam Alexis over the weekend announcing on some social media, run it back. I'm back. So I guess my question, James, is like, where are we drawing the line? And I ask this in all seriousness: if Braden Smith gets cut by the Pacers in training camp, could he go back to Purdue?
Could he? I'm not sure. Has he signed an official contract? Does that matter anymore? Do you have to just find a
Didn't
judge
Sam Alexis play in the G League or play in the Summer League?
Yes, but is that an official? Do you get paid to play in the Summer League? I'm not sure, in all seriousness.
So I guess, where's the line? Like, some of these Colts players, if they get their contract terminated here, you're a Colts undrafted free agent. You're whatever, Wes Weeks from LSU.
Yeah.
You get cut August 30th by the Colts. Could you go play for LSU next week in the first game? You can't tell me some SEC school wouldn't say, oh, yeah, come on back. Here's $1 million.
I mean, there's teams around in the Big Ten that will do the same thing. I'm reading here in the Indy Star. It says this was one of several college athletes to win a 5th year of eligibility Friday via an injunction awarded in a Tennessee court. Interesting.
My thing is this. Once you participate in professional sports, training camp, summer league, rookie mini camp, it's over.
Done.
It's over. You can't go back to college. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, every time I think that they found a solution, because I actually think in theory the 5 for 5 is probably a good thing. But now that you can go back and get the 5th year after you're already done is kind of crazy to me too. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like we're always talking about college athletics from the standpoint of the state of it rather than what's happening in it. And I get that will change when we get back football here in a few weeks, but it's still frustrating.
Yeah, it's a further reminder of why, and I know it kind of sounds crazy to some to say this, but why, the NCAA desperately needs Congress to get involved here. Because this is another case here where you had a judge, I think it was in, what, you said Tennessee?
Yes.
Is where the judge was, where all of a sudden, boom, this ruling gets created, and where does the line, get drawn? And honestly, if you're some of those Indiana players on the roster, does Sam Alexis help you? Well, certainly it does. But if you're some of those guys that signed, back in the spring, you're thinking to yourself, wait a minte, I was under the impression here that I'd be getting these minutes.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, a week before everybody gets on campus here for first semester, you're bringing a dude back that literally played in the NBA Summer League. It's just insane to me.
If it made sense, I'd probably be more confused about that.
Mark, should we hit our GOATs of the weekend?
Who is the GOAT?
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Jordan, here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Or GOAT?
This guy sucks.
Of the week.
All right, Mark Dykton, you lead us off. Where do you want to go here from our goats of the weekend?
Let's start with our good goats of the week. Mine is going to be kind of all-encompassing. The MLB trade deadline is today, but so far, the moves that have been made, I'm a big fan of them. The Dodgers landing Tarik Skubal, that's the big prize. The Cubs got Kevin Gausman from the Blue Jays. White Sox took on former Reds starter Luis Castillo. The Rays got Freddie Peralta. The Yankees landed slugger Luis Garcia from the Nationals. And there's still plenty of time left and plenty of arms and bats that could get traded before this afternoon's deadline. I have really enjoyed the MLB trade deadline so far. The hot stove took a little bit to get warmed up, but now it's cooking, baby.
No, how about that?
How about the Cubs get Ellie De La Cruz? Will the Reds do that one? We'll take him.
Oh, Mark, you kiss my you-know-what. Jeez. I was going to compliment you on your hot stove comment there. The Italian restaurants have you feeling good on this Monday morning, but then you just lay that turd on me.
Not nice.
Unbelievable. James Boyd, please save us.
My good goat of the weekend, I would say, rather than just the week. Spider-Man, brand new day.
Ooh.
I went to see Spider-Man yesterday with Caleb Zuver, actually. Shout out to one of our producers here at 107.5 The Fan, and that movie was amazing. I'm not a real big superhero person like I was when I was a kid. I haven't watched all of the Marvel films, but I enjoyed it, thought it was very good for all ages, and if you haven't seen it yet because it just came out, I would encourage you to go check it out and probably feel a little better about humanity afterwards.
Shout out to one of our listeners. They reached out over the weekend and sent me this message. Daymar Services, what they're doing here locally, I think hopefully many people are familiar with them. They do so many great things for especially kids, but also adults with disabilities. I know Jack Doyle had some involvement with them with the ticket block back in the day. But they are partnering with some local sports teams and mascots in particular. And I saw a great video with 9-year-old Maddox, awesome kid. He's hanging out with Rowdy over at Victory Field and playing around with Rowdy and getting a chance to hit balls and, just take in everything that Victory Field has to offer. So encourage people to head to Daymar Services, see some of these videos, and just a big thank you to them for what they're doing for people with disabilities. I thought it was awesome to see this. Great to see Indy from a local sports scene connecting, again, the mascots, and just an awesome watch. So thank you to listener Chad for alerting me of those videos.
My lowercase goat is going to be the people complaining about the Dodgers landing Tarik Skubal and making all these moves. They're like, of course it's the Dodgers, this and that. Why can't my team make a move? I would say be mad at the owners of the other 29 teams that aren't being bold and making these moves. I know Tarik Skubal is technically a rental, but, I mean, we're talking about people that are like, oh, the Orioles don't do this or the Reds can't do this because of the market size. Well, then there needs to be a salary floor. Everybody's talking about salary cap. How about a salary floor for baseball so that you have to meet these at least financial thresholds for all 30 teams to at least level the playing field a little bit? That'll help break up the Dodgers monopoly they got going on.
James, I'm going to go next. The Major League Baseball trade deadline stinks. The fact that the Tigers are 2.5 games out and they're trading their ace Skubal, and of all the teams he goes to the freaking Dodgers, makes me sick. It's why, honestly, my baseball fandom continues to wane. I absolutely hate it. Here they are. They bring up their hot prospect. Max Clark has this great opening weekend. Oh, yeah, by the way, we traded Tarik Skubal. Oh, really? Well, okay. Where are you trading to? To the Dodgers. Again, all these other MLB teams, they're like the mid-major feeder system. And, here come the Dodgers. Mark pointed out earlier in the show. At some point, I'm sure Aaron Judge will play for him. I'm sure, Pete Crow Armstrong will play for him. I'm sure Paul Skeens will be a pitcher for the Dodgers one day. It sickens me how Major League Baseball has turned into the Dodgers and everybody else. I absolutely hate it. I can't stand it. It stinks.
Blame your owner at the Reds, Kevin. Blame the owner at the Reds. Yeah. It's not the Dodgers' fault that the Reds can't get involved in anything.
Yeah. Let's blame one solo owner, Mark.
Are you going to abandon being a Reds fan? Are you going to abandon following this team?
That's your owner. That's your guy. Tell him to go get Tarik Skubal next time.
Yeah, put that money up.
Come on, Kevin.
Broke owner. Anyway,
he's so mad right
now. My
now.
bad goat of the week. I know he's silent. He's giving the silent treatment. He's like Max Bone right now. Man up.
Shut the hell up.
My bad goat will be the weather. I look forward to all the practices here at Grand Park, being outdoors, interacting with the listeners and the fans. But Saturday night, getting rained out was a bummer for your boy.
Yeah, it was a bummer up here. I mean, it was the right call, certainly. I mean, it was pouring when we came out of practice, but that was a bummer because I know Saturday afternoon was supposed to be a big day here up at Grand Park. All right, on the other side, let's get set here for full pads. It is day 5 of Colts camp. We got to recap a couple of practices from over the weekend. Reminder, Rick Venturi going to join us in the 9 o'clock hour. Always love talking to Coach. What are his thoughts for practices in from Grand Park? We'll do that upcoming Fan Morning Show live here in Westfield, day 5 of Colts training camp.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Life in Westfield, Indiana, baby. The full pads coming on this morning Day 5 here at the Droplight Grand Park campus. We are looking forward to a little bit more intensity, I think, in week 2 of camp. And, James, if we now get into the same schedule that Shane Steichen has followed in past years, I would expect a whole lot of full padded practices here now moving forward. So they'll go full pads today. Again, morning practice today, morning practice expected tomorrow, a night practice on Thursday, morning sessions Saturday and Sunday. Let's go back to Saturday for a second. Colts went indoors. Daniel Jones, 14 of 17, very unofficially, in that indoor practice. But I kind of walked out of the indoor facility on Saturday thinking, man, the Colts just went 4 straight days. It's their longest stretch of camp. They won't go more than 2 now, the rest of camp. And Daniel Jones has taken every single starting rep. Like, if you told me that in mid-December, I don't know if I would have committed to that. And certainly, not only has he taken every starting rep, but I don't think by any means it looks obvious he's coming back from a torn Achilles. I don't want to act like he looks 100% like he did the first 2 months of the season last year, but I also don't think he looks like a liability either.
I think if you told someone to just look at him as a quarterback and they had no history or knowledge of his injury, they could not tell that he was ever injured. Now, only he can tell us if he's 100% healthy, which I probably think he's a ways away from that just because of the timeline and getting some of that confidence in game. But we heard from Ollie Cox about how good he must be feeling and how much his teammates feel that as well.
Rick Venturi told me 9:15 he would be showing up. Did I just see Rick Venturi show up at 8:45?
You knew that was a lie when he said it. The man is going to be early whenever there's football involved.
What's he say about the 3 things that can't happen during football season?
Don't die, don't get married, don't have a baby during football season.
Are you in full control of all of that?
According to Rick, he is. He's been doing it for 60 years. So, yeah, he is in control of that. The man's scheduled to get his knee surgeries done for after the season.
He looks great, by the way.
He's walking great, too.
Walking right now. He's climbing up in the Sprinter van with us on Saturday as we headed over to the indoor facility. So looking forward to chatting with Rick Venturi here upcoming. A couple thoughts from this weekend. One, and we've mentioned this throughout the show, but Riley Leonard certainly took more number 2 reps than Anthony Richardson on Saturday. It was a difference from what we saw the first 3 days of camp. So what does that mean now as we get into week 2? Is this a trend that we're going to see continue at all? Are we starting to see some separation? And then just other position battles. Like, for example, James, Saturday was the first time I've seen rookie A.J. Halsey running with the starting unit pretty consistently. It was Hunter Wooler getting a lot of that the first couple days of camp. Is that a real battle? Was that one day? How do things evolve there? And then do the full pads lead to anything good, bad, and different?
Right.
Are there guys that flourish a little bit more with the physicality ramped up? Are there some guys that turn into a little bit more of pretenders with the full pads on? The Colts have a lot of new faces on their defensive line. Offensively, what about 4th-round pick Jalen Farmer? By all accounts, supposed to be a very physical guard out of Kentucky. He's yet to challenge for a starting job. Matt Gonzalez at right guard has taken every single starting rep there. Is that something we see change at all with the full pads coming on?
I'm just looking at Coach walk over to us and wonder if he's going to put full pads on and give us a little, trip down memory lane.
This got to be a favorite day for him.
I know. He can line it up and knock us out, probably. But as far as the actual stuff I want to see, Kevin, I think for me, I do want to see is the defense just a tick faster. I think the offense often gets a lot of the credit when we're watching them throw routes on air and you can't really get close to guys. Does the defense show up a little bit more just because they can be a little more physical?
So, again, it'll be day 5 of camp upcoming today. If you've yet to be here at Grand Park, it's going to get busy this week, and I'd highly encourage you to come out because next week they'll pretty much be in Foxborough all week long. So morning practice Monday, Tuesday, night practice coming up on Thursday. They'll go morning again Saturday and Sunday. Then after that, it really becomes just weekend practices for the Colts. They'll have 2 joint sessions with the Atlanta Falcons on August 19th and 20th, and that will be their final days here in Westfield. James, we played it earlier, and again, Rick Venturi is going to join us coming up at 9 o'clock. here live from Westfield. We played the clip a little bit earlier. The mantra from Carlie Gordon to the Colts football team is find a way. Find a way means what to you?
Finish your games and finish your seasons in a much better way than you have within the last 5 years of not making the playoffs. They just don't do that. Like I said earlier in the show, I went back and looked. During this 5-year playoff drought, which is tied for the third longest active streak in the NFL, the Colts are 18-27 in the months of November, December, and January. That's winning time. That's peak football season. Even going to the high school days, Kevin, you mentioned high school football practice starting up this week in Indiana. If you get to November, you're competing for the state championship. So those types of things are important, I think, for this group, and we just haven't seen that throughout this regime as of late. And even for a guy like Shane Steichen, who I think is under less pressure, so to speak, than Chris Ballard, how many coaches get to keep their job if you don't make the playoffs for a fourth straight year?
Do you think he is under less pressure? I guess do you?
Well, I'll put it like this. I would say he's, in my eyes, pressure probably wasn't the right word. I would say he's not looked at as having as much fault as Chris Ballard, but I do view it kind of like a package deal where if this thing goes bad, then you're probably hard resetting everything.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was kind of follow up with do you think she would keep one but not the other?
Nah, I don't know. I guess this is a good barometer to see the decision-making of Carlie Gordon depending on how the season goes, because so many things are consequential, but as of right now, I probably wouldn't lean towards that way.
Do you know what they are in one-score games under Steichen by chance?
I don't. I would have to look that up. Do you know?
No, I don't either. I would have to look that up. I kind of referenced, I guess, something off of that in the 7 o'clock hour of, again, when I hear find a way, and I I understand people are bitching and moaning. That's too elementary of a statement. I understand where she's coming from. They've won 8 and 9 games. If you look at it in the 3 years of Steichen, they're stuck in that purgatory, and some way somehow you haven't won enough ugly games. You haven't won enough low-scoring games, and you certainly haven't won enough games in the division. And I'll point to the matchup with Houston to kind of, crystallize that for me of 5 straight losses to the Houston Texans, and all of those losses are by 1 score. That to me is kind of the find-a-way mantra of.
And that's why I say finish. Can you finish, one defensive drive? Can you finish one offensive drive? Can you get that one stop? Whether it's the fourth quarter or the first quarter, just something to get you over the edge.
Last year they're driving to take the lead late in that game at Lucas Oil Stadium against the Houston Texans. And there they have a great opportunity to potentially, retake the lead very, very late. And did Josh Downs have a big drop on that far sideline? And then, maybe Jones threw high to Pittman on 4th down, if I remember those plays correctly. And if memory serves, I want to say maybe a Michael Badgley missed extra point happened in that game, which is why they were down 4 in that instance and not 3. Then could you have kicked the field goal at that point?
Was that the controversial Kenny Moore holding
pass
play
interference?
Or something like that?
Yeah. I think that might have been in there. So, again, we're talking about all these singular plays.
Yeah.
And
but
I think
little moments that stack up and matter when you're trying to look at the big picture.
Right. And is it a psyche thing? Carlie referenced, there was a highlight that she showed, and it sounded like there were some highlights with her, words of, Alec Pierce, catching a ball against his helmet, things like that. Simply finding a way. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing by any means, but can you get it done? And that's what the NFL season provides. I remember a game in Cleveland in the Peyton era. I think it was a 13-6 game. The only touchdown scored was Robert Mathis on a fumble return for a touchdown. It's not always the prettiest looking thing in the world, but over 17 games of an NFL season, you have to find an ugly win or two if you want to be playing the meaningful football in the month of January. The man is overlooking the practice field right now in Westfield. His eyes look like he's staring at his firstborn right now. Rick Venturi, the knees look excellent. Can't wait for his insights all preseason long on our TVs and also the Colts Audio Network. The podcast in season is a must. We'll chat with Coach Venturi on the other side. Fan Morning Show here on a beautiful Monday in Westfield.
Young coaches, when Belichick was a job, to you, when guys ask the question about Carlie, what he really needs to do your job rather than some son of a bitch in here to do it better. I mean,
Do I still have it here?
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous Monday here in Westfield, Indiana. The Drop Light Grand Park campus where we are. And the full pads coming on today, day 5 of Colts camp here. And we are looking forward to our next segment. He is the coach. You will hear him on the television broadcast for all 3 preseason games. This time next week, he's going to be getting ready to go to Foxborough and the Colts Audio Network, a great listen-in season, Inside Football with Rick Venturi. Coach, you look great. That's the first thing I want to get to. The knees look good, and I think you're feeling good, which is the most important thing.
I tell you, Kevin, I was just talking to James off air. I haven't felt this good in years, honestly. I'm 80 going on 40, if you want to know the truth. The good Lord did bless me with a voice that hasn't aged, so I'm okay. I'm okay in this business. But this is the first training camp, in years that I come out pain-free. And so I'm telling you what, I'm really, really enjoying it. Looking forward to my schedule this year. It's going to be a little bit different, but it's something I really want to do. And so, as you said, Rake and I will be doing that game in New England. And incidentally, our podcast will actually start this Wednesday. Beautiful. So we're going to start the podcast with Matt and I in the preseason. So, yeah, we're getting going. And as we know, today football practice really starts. The gym class is over.
So I know you used that phrase a few times, Coach. And, again, that's the voice of Coach Rick Venturi, Colts Radio Network, and obviously lover of football lifer. So when you say gym class is over, what things are you looking for from a coaching perspective when you bring out the pads?
Well, when you bring out the pads now, you really, for me, for first couple of days, really focus on the interior, the front sevens now. I mean, you can gather a lot of information on your perimeter players in sweats. I don't think totally you can evaluate it, but you get a good look at your perimeter guys. But essentially you get nothing. It's just a learning experience for your offensive, defensive line. So, today we start to see a little bit there. Particularly I like to watch the one-on-ones. I don't think you make your team and evaluate your team on one-on-ones, but you see everything about a guy,
Right.
And, the physical grind starts right now. So the one thing I will say, James, and I think I've learned this over the years, is I think it's a little bit different on offense and defense, but I don't think you really can evaluate your defense until you actually tackle. Until you actually have to. You use the term finish, and I think that should be the third part of the triangle. Sense of urgency, find a way, and the last and most important thing should be finish. I mean, we're 23rd in offense in the fourth quarter, 25th in defense in the fourth quarter. And that's why you don't win. It's like the NBA, except it's the last 6 minutes, maybe than the last 2 minutes of the game. So, I don't think we'll know totally on the defense till you really have to tackle.
Let's go to the perimeter players, and let's just focus wide receiver and corner so far. What have you seen the first 4 days? To me, there's a stark contrast in those two units, but how would you describe what you've seen from the passing game?
Well, I think, number one, it just defines how important the receiver corps, how important Pierce is. I mean, Pierce is a true number one guy, leading receiver in terms of yards per catch 2 years in a row. He's so important to opening up the field and widening it for Jonathan and Warren and Downs inside. But without him, all of a sudden you look very marginal. Now, Josh Downs, to me, and I know we're going to play him some outside, but I don't think that does him justice. I think he's really, truly a very cute, classy slot. I think he's extremely good at that position. The one guy I think that has stood out, in these first 4 days, and I've always liked him. He was a bit of a Colt killer, and that's Westbrook. I always have trouble with Akine. He's had a very good first 4 days, and I think he's a real serviceable guy. I think what you might end up seeing if we don't make an acquisition is a combination of that two outside, not necessarily the number two, but the two outside opposite Pierce would be Doolin and Ikine, because what you would get between the two of them, with Doolin, you get another speed merchant on the outside. So if he is opposite Pierce, you're going to stretch and widen the defense, which makes our top guys better. Mm-hmm. Our top three guys, you got Warren, you got Taylor, and you got Downs. Two of the three of them are elite, and Josh is pretty good. So if you can get speed out there. But then where Akine comes in is he's a little bit of a Pittman, although he's never been featured. Pittman caught a lot of balls, but he was totally featured all the time. I mean, he isn't in the top 100 last year, yards per catch. So what Akine gives you is that dirty work guy. He can get in there and block. He can make that possession catch. I think he can be real in the red zone on the 50-50 ball. So I think you're going to have to play 2 for 1 in positions, unless you make an acquisition, and I don't know how good a deal that is, to be honest with you, at this late date. But no, now as far as the secondary goes, and you asked the question specifically about the corners. I would say that if Ward, Sauce, Wally, Bynum, and I'd say Halsey, because I want to just make a talent statement. Wooler may be the guy, but I think Halsey's talent is there. That could be the best 5 talent guys that we've had here in the Indianapolis Colts. And I've been through the best defense we've ever had is 1987. And people don't realize that it was our first playoff appearance, but we led the league in fewest points given up. And that was a pretty good back end. But I'm just saying, talent-wise, they got to go do it. They have to go do it. And they all have to stay healthy. Like, once they all went down last year, we went from tough man-to-man, get after you, choke you off, to soft high school zone. And we got absolutely killed in the last 7 games. So, but I just see those 5 guys is as good a collective talent that we've had here. You'll have to tell me who's better since 1984. I don't know. Now, as far as the corners specifically, if those 2 guys stay healthy, they're elite corners. I mean, you got elite cover guys in Sauce and Ward. There's no doubt about that. And so health will be the big issue. Now, one good thing I think happened last year, despite it being a factor negatively, is that when those guys went down, we ended up playing a lot of guys. So I think we've established actually some depth. Getting Taylor Britt helps.
Yeah.
Blackman came in. We made that deal. Even kids like Edwards and some of those guys.
Cameron Mitchell.
Those guys played a lot of football. So, we're fairly deep going in. But the first 2 guys are difference makers. They can shut you down. And the other thing is, we know one of the big factors this year that has to improve, or we're not going to improve defensively, and particularly in the fourth quarter, is pass rush. Now, I've always believed, and having been a secondary coach most of my life, that it's intertwined. It's like dominoes. And if you have corners who can press, Sauce, Wally, Ward, and you can get up and press, what you do is you buy that rush one more step, because you can delay, you can disrupt the offenses and the routes, and that can make you better, much better on the rush. I mean, and so, we'll have to see. And that group has looked really good here in Sweats. They've looked really good, particularly the 2 corners.
So I know you mentioned the special pieces of this offense, 2 of those being Alec Pierce and Tyler Warren. What stands out to you about Tyler Warren as he heads into year 2? We saw him have a great catch Saturday in the red zone, but he'll never react to it, so we got to brag for him.
Right. No, that's right. No, he's old school. He's everything you want in a player. He has a great skill set. He plays fast. He doesn't time fast, but he plays fast. He plays football fast. He's a great combination guy. Kind of, there aren't many anymore, because nowadays the tight ends coming out of college are really more slots. They're wide receivers and tight end body. Well, he can be that third wide, but he can block that edge. So he gives you a real tactical advantage with his skill set. And there's really nothing he can't do. I mean, he catches the ball, runs really good routes, tougher than hell, blocks. You put him in the backfield, he can play fullback. And what I like, and particularly if our receiver core is just doesn't develop or is subpar, you can play him with Mo Alley, or with Drew, and you basically, if I'm a defensive coordinator, am I playing base defense or am I playing nickel? Because he now can become the third wide. He can become the fourth guy in three wide sets, but he becomes like a wide receiver. So he is not only super talented and has a great mentality, but he gives you tactical advantages.
Inside Football with Rick Venturi, the podcast on the Colts Audio Network. It will begin on Wednesday this week. It is a must-listen all season long. And, again, he will be on the TV broadcast here in the preseason. All three games with Greg Rakestraw. A week from Thursday, the first preseason game in New England. And the great line of this Monday morning, gym class is over as full pads are coming on here on this Monday. Let's talk quarterback. Obviously, we have seen him take every single starting rep here through the first 4 days of camp. Your thoughts on Daniel Jones, his mobility so far, and then if you go down the depth chart, because Saturday inside of the indoor facility was the first day we've seen more Riley Leonard with the second unit than the split with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, well, I think the most optimistic or encouraging part of the first 4 days is Daniel Jones. They talked all winter. He talked, we'll be ready for opening day, 11 on 11, and he is. I mean, and I think he's been really impressive. He's thrown the ball extremely good with great accuracy. They've moved him a lot. They've run their bootlegs. They've run their movement part of it. He hasn't shown, much issue there. And I think the play, and I'm sure you guys felt the same as I did Saturday, near the end of practice in that red zone, and this is what I worry most about in Achilles or any injury coming back from. It's not the program play. If you're programmed on a bootleg, you're running in this line, and you're going to throw it and go. Drop back, you're going to get back, and you're going to kick it out. The problem that you worry about is the ad lib. It breaks down.
You talked about this guy.
And now,
uncontrolled movement.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, bang, I got to go. And there's Full Metal Jacket. I'm out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
And we saw an example of that, semi, almost real, really. And he got out of there to his right and ran it in for a touchdown in the red zone. And I didn't think it looked 100% like he was, but it was pretty close. And we still have really 2 months before the regular season. And obviously he's everything. I mean, people ask me all the time, what is your team? Is it 8-2 or is it 0-7? Well, if Jones is there, you're a lot closer to 8-2. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, when Jones went out, when he went out, he was either 1 or 2, depending on the week, QBR in the league. Taylor was 200 yards ahead of the second rusher in the league, and the leading scorer. Pierce was leading the league in yards per catch, big plays, and then Warren was on his way to his first Pro Bowl. Now, when Jones goes out, the last 7 games, JT doesn't gain 100 yards in any of the 7 games. And that's the domino effect when you lose a game changer, which Dan is for us, has been so far, because what happens is, and then we had a guy that couldn't push the ball downfield, so the defense just crowds you. I coached defense my whole life, and when the defensive guys just feel it, you don't even have to tell them. They can feel it. You can't push it, and they crowd you. And now Jonathan is running into the wall of China. I mean, really,
it
comes, and he didn't, and I thought we didn't adjust very well. When you lose a quarterback like that, you got to really become running back centric, and you have to really adapt and change everything. And I think we could have done a little bit better job of that. But in the end, Jones is everything. And I felt really, really good. I felt good about him all those 4 practices, but that one play made me feel really good, that ad lib play. As far as the backups go, I don't see much difference in what I know about him. I mean, I haven't seen anything stand out too much different. Riley's a little bit more, I guess you'd say, consistent. But then AR5, at times, he just makes the most difficult play look so easy. And I still know in the back of my mind, and I know he's gotten great criticism, but he has a winning record in this league. And, that's with, I hope people didn't think we were getting Peyton Manning type guy with a guy who only played 13 games in college. So, it's been uneven for those guys. Partially we're having trouble as a backup center. I mean, the ball's all over the place. I mean,
major issues there.
I mean, I go to high school practice, don't see the ball on the ground on those shotgun steps are amazing. So it kind of distorts the look. But it'll be interesting. I like both kids for different reasons. But let's don't lose Danny.
So here's a question I have for you. I know you mentioned Jonathan Taylor. We know what he brings.
Oh.
He is an elite running back, one of the best. And if he stays on this trend, who knows? One day he could be a Canton.
He's elite, yeah.
The backups behind him, what stood out to you? Because I think one guy who has popped has been Seth McGowan.
Yes.
What's been your interpretation of him so far throughout camp?
No. I think, James, you're right on there. I'll be honest with you. Full disclosure, I thought he was a steal of the draft. I watch a ton of tape. I'm as ready for the draft as anybody. And, this is a kid that really played well for a bad Kentucky. Kentucky's been pretty good, but this was a bad Kentucky team. And, you're playing against the best defenses, the best talented defenses in football in the SEC. I mean, I think the Big Ten's the best conference, but when you look at draft day and you look at those defenders you're running against, what I like about him is, first of all, he's very tough. He's a tough guy. I think he has really good inline vision. In other words, he's here, he's looking, and boy, that opens up there and he'll hit it. He's kind of a C-gap to C-gap guy. And if you look at him, he's really put together. I mean, he thrusts through there. He's not going to give you a lot of shake. He's going to put that foot in the ground, hit it, and go, and lower that shoulder. But he's not slow. He's a sub 4.5, which is good for a running back. I mean, he can take it to the house if he has to. Just the opposite is the other guy. Just the absolute opposite.
With Giddens?
Giddens, who was here a year ago and had a really good camp, and then then it fell off during the regular season. He's just the opposite to me. He's a jitterbug, but I mean good. I'm saying that on a good sense. He's got really good quickness. He can get to the edge fast. His issues came, like they do for most young running backs, came in the protection aspect of it. They tried to play him early, and he gave up a couple sacks, a couple misfires, and that's really for a running back, the complexity of the game is not the running game. It's pass protection and all the crap. I mean, third down is a monster in the NFL. It's a game within a game, and you're running back, and so that's when Abdullah came in there, and they had to, because when John wasn't in there, then they had to get somebody that was reliable on the protection aspect of it. So you got two different kinds of backs. It's going to be really interesting, again, when those live bullets are flying in New England.
The great Rick Venturi, he's with us here live in Westfield. He's got new knees, which I know is making James Boyd a little scared about the 40-yard dash here upcoming. Rick Venturi starts towing the line, and Usain Bolt might need a call here to Westfield. As we wrap up here, and again, we can't thank you enough for the time, winning uglier. That was a phrase Shane Steichen used back in February. We have to find ways to win uglier. You brought up the fourth quarter stats a little bit earlier. What does that mean to you as a coach of winning games in an uglier fashion when those pop up?
Well, it's doing whatever you have to do to win. Find a way is a good word for that. You have to win a game that's 10-7, but you got to win a game that's 44-43. So it's on your entire operation to win the game. And I think, and James brought this up, my third part of that triangle would be you have to find a way to finish games. We haven't finished plays. we haven't finished games. I mean, and that's where the bad fourth quarter stats come in, because the NFL is a one possession game basically at the end of the game, and you either win it in the last 6 minutes or you lose it. And we're 25th. We haven't been able to shut the door on anybody in the fourth quarter when we have to play defense to win. Like really, despite the quarterback issue, if we play good fourth quarter defense in that last 7, we might win 2 or 3, and it would be totally different. Yeah. So I think that's part of it. And then if you really look at us in the last few years, we haven't finished seasons. I remember the Carson Wentz season. We go to Arizona and win on New Year's or Christmas Eve. I'll remember the flight back. I mean, we're looking Super Bowl, and then we lose to
Raiders and
Jaguars. And so we're almost growing accustomed to a late season collapse. Now, it was a mid-season collapse, but obviously it had to do with the injuries to Jones, number 1, and probably Buckner, number 2, because in a sense you lost 2 of your real game changers.
Yeah, Buckner's Pittsburgh game. Yeah, I think people forget about that.
Yeah, and when Buckner and Big Grover haven't been there in the last 2 years. Grover's suspension and Buckner's, we haven't stopped anybody.
Do you think Latu's got a third-year jump in him?
Well, I hope so.
And how vital do you think that is?
Well, I think it's tremendously vital, because at this point, the only guy that you really the impact guy on defense, rushing-wise, is Buckner. I mean, and so if you're an offensive coordinator, that's how I look at Ambien. On Tuesday night, do I have to scheme this guy? And with Buckner, they do, and hopefully his injuries don't catch up with him. But he's still the one impact guy you got. Latu's been solid, but he hasn't been an impact guy, And, he's got a lot of talent. I think sometimes he reminds me more of a 34 linebacker on the outside than a true defensive end. But he's got speed. He's got a quick get off. He can turn the corner at times. He has a bit of a counter move, not a great one, but a bit of one. The biggest thing that he has to be able to do is what I always call turn speed to power. That's the part of his game that is he's either going to get that and become an elite guy, or he's going to be what he is. And by that I mean basically these big tackles, and they all got big wingspans. When you're a one-trick pony, when you're just running the edge, they're going to sit back on you, and they're going to push you back. And so when you look at the Myles Garrett and the top guys in the league, even Hendrickson, okay, what they do when that guy sets, they immediately point, like you talk about a running back, put his foot in the ground, they put that outside foot in the ground, and they run right over you. They take you right back to the quarterback. So sometimes they take you back and grab you. And that's the thing that Latu has to get, is what I would call the impact power part of the rush to become complete. Because if you don't do that, they'll settle on you. But that's really important. Hopefully we can get some juice from Key. Key's flashed at different times in his career, But what I see, kind of like we talked about the receiver, I see somebody like Timo and Key kind of being 2 for 1. Timo a little bit more that first down guy, and then Key being kind of that designated pass rusher. And then we'll see how the young guys, Curry and all these guys, come along. I kind of like what I've seen with Clemon, to be honest with you. I do think that we have improved the defensive interior from a backup standpoint.
Yeah, Colby Wooden come
over. Yeah, Wooden, Nande, Tillery, all. I think all and Addy has improved. I think we're much better. Like I said, the last 2 years, if either one of those starters, Stu or Buck, went down, it was like raising the flag. All right, just run it now, and and really they run right through us. So
sure.
That I think we're really improved there. So again, it's health of those key guys, health of those key corners, health to Buckner. And we'll see at linebacker. I do think there's some talented guys there, but I have no idea yet.
Yeah, they've been rotating a ton so far at linebacker.
And of all positions,
4 practices in.
Of all positions, that's the instinct one that you got to watch them play, man. The bullets have to be flying, because it's an instinct position. It really is. I mean, and obviously we know Allen is pretty much programmed in. I kind of like Butcher, the other kid. I think he's very athletic.
Bryce Betcher out of Oregon.
He has that baseball space feeling, that he has, and but I mean those guys are all really, really competing. But I wouldn't be surprised to see 53 and 50 in there some.
Yeah, Keem Davis-Gaither is also rotating in. He's back after missing a few days with illness. Rick Venturi, Inside Football with Rick Venturi starting Wednesday. Colts Audio Network, again, a week from Thursday. Him and Greg Straw, such a great listen, those two in the booth for all 3 preseason games. You look great. I'm glad you feel great. Best to Miss Sherry. And thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Oh, enjoy it. You two are the best, man. I catch
appreciate it, Coach.
Almost every morning.
Well, we appreciate that. Rick Venturi right here live in Westfield. We'll throw the morning check down on next segment. Life at Grand Park starting to happen a little bit here. Colt City opening up, and I see a few specialists out on the practice fields. Luke Rhodes, full pads are on. Gym class is over. That's what Rick Venturi just told us. Full pads coming on here Monday morning at Grand Park. Andy Moore Group Campus in Avon. 4 brands on one campus. That would be Toyota. That would be Volkswagen. That would be Nissan. How about the Kia brand? Tons of great inventory on site. GM Joe out there. He's got a summer sticker sales event. That's live. You can win $750 off at that summer sticker sales event. Really strong inventory on site. Very convenient, of course, for all of us in the car shopping department. If you're exploring any hybrid routes, they've got plenty of models available to you. So, again, that's the Kia brand, but more than that, Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan, all of that is available to you, the Andy Moore Group campus in Avon. So make sure you contact them today. Andy Moore Group campus in Avon, Toyota, Nissan, Volkswagen, and Kia. Tell them Kevin Bowen sent you.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Boy, the lead in there, Mark. I thought you were going with some Italian music on this Monday morning.
I am a little bit. Yeah, a little Italian.
Look at this. Fill in everybody that maybe haven't been with us for the first 2.5 hours. Lou Anarumo going to join us here coming up on the show tomorrow. James, we've been wanting to collect our best Italian restaurants here in the area to throw Coach Anarumo's way. We have a nice list. Maybe we'll round the show out with that. The list there is about the only thing we didn't get with Coach Venturi on his best Italian restaurant here. But looking forward to that conversation coming up tomorrow. Now, you are nervous because Lou is a tough grader.
Yes. What if I recommend something that I love and I'm like, look, you can go to Iaria's and have a great time. And he's like, that place stinks. Then what? But to be clear, I think the place is amazing. I would never say that about that established restaurant.
He is a critical evaluator.
But yes, he's a tough grader.
Yeah, he is a tough grader. You don't get to the position that he has gotten to.
I ain't been graded in a long time, KB.
A couple head coaching interviews for him last year, I believe, New York and Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. Did he interview in Tennessee too?
Was that him or was that Ed Dodd to my interview for like
their
open
definitely
GM?
Buffalo, New York. He did interview for those head coaching gigs. So we'll chat with Lou Anarumo coming up here on tomorrow's show. We just heard from Rick Venturi. I thought that was really interesting, him pointing out those direct kind of fourth quarter stats. 23rd in offense, 25th in defense. He kind of referenced the NBA a little bit. And you hear this in the NBA quite often, these double-digit leads in the first half, they never last.
What they call clutch time.
Right,
last
all
5
of a
minutes
sudden
of the
you
game.
show up and it's a 5-point game within 5 minutes, and boom, it's another clutch game.
That happened yesterday with the Fever. They were down 13 or 14, and they cut it to 2 in the fourth quarter.
The NFL can have those vibes as well, where all of a sudden you look up and it's like, oh boy, it's a one-possession game. And to me, James, that to me boils down so much to elite quarterback play and elite pass rush.
Yeah.
Like if you have the pass rush to slam the door shut, how much can that do? I go back to that Kansas City game. I want to say Mahomes and them had like a 19-play drive to force overtime.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Something insanely long. And it was just kind of death by 1,000 paper cuts. And if you have that one, if you can make the 3rd and 5 sack, it's funny. I think back to Saturday's practice indoors. The final team period, Daniel Jones was 6 for 6 on that final drive. But it was methodical. It was kind of dink and dunky. Well, then the drive halted when Latu had a sack.
Yeah.
And they didn't get any points out of it. And again, we're saying all this, and I'm saying points and quotes here. That to me is kind of the indicator of it. Is like you're moving the football, but then you don't have the pass rush to boom, be that closer, be the Mariano Rivera, if you will, and that's the difference in that.
Looks like we have another guest here. And Greg Rakeshaw. We got to make sure his mic works this time.
A completely uninvited guest as well.
Well.
Whose notebook is this? Who am I sitting in front of?
I believe that's Coach Venturi's notebook.
Okay.
That's the Holy Grail right there.
We just had him on. So that is your color analyst here coming up.
Hang on a second. Morse Reservoir. Oh, sorry. Let's take that. Yep. Okay, got it. All right.
When do you head to Foxborough?
So he flies out with the team on Monday. I fly out with the next group on Tuesday.
Okay.
So you'll miss the joint practice?
I will miss the joint practice, but I will be in place on Wednesday. Who has next Wednesday off? Who's sitting out next Wednesday?
I am. Rosie Bones off to kindergarten.
Okay. I am doing the show from my hotel room Wednesday morning in Boston.
That.
Okay.
So is it you and me, or is it me and the Diggy Dykton?
You and Dykton.
Because you're flying out to Boston, right?
Yeah. So I'm flying. I'll fly that Monday.
Yep.
Practice that Tuesday and then fly back that Wednesday and then watch the game from here.
Because you would rather hear me on the television broadcast than see it with your own eyes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the type of glorious friend that you are, JB. Thank you.
I would sign off on that 1,000%. I'd much rather listen to you. Hell, I wish I could do that for the home games. Are you out Monday, James? When's your flight Monday?
I'm actually leaving after the show.
Leaving after the show.
So,
okay.
we'll
do the show
like that, brother.
It is a non-connection destination we're going to. It is one flight there and one flight back. Kind of nice.
Are you in Boston? Or are you in?
I think we are actually staying in Boston. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure if we're Providence or Boston.
Because I've always stayed in Providence. Now,
I think this time we're staying in Boston, I believe.
Lou Anarumo is going to join us after practice today.
Okay.
We are chatting with him, and Lou is a very big Italian restaurant connoisseur.
Yep.
So, Greg Rakestraw, we live in an area with some very nice Italian
Yes, we
restaurants
do.
around us. So, thank you to Mama Carola's. Thank you to Ambrosia. We got some great spots. Iaria's, of course, downtown. Ioza's, I enjoy the back patio there downtown. Any hidden gems from an Italian standpoint you want to throw Lou Anarumo's way?
I celebrate the entire catalog of what you said. And, in fact, I know enough people at Ambrosia to order off the menu. It's the one place I do that.
Ooh, okay.
So if the fettuccine alla vodka, folks, and add chicken to it is not on the menu, ask for that at Ambrosia next time you go.
Look at that. That's big time.
Shout out to Dan Cage and the good folks that own Ambrosia
Dan
these
Cage,
days.
a hooper back in the day.
Former Indiana All-Star State champ and Vanderbilt Commodore, and now restaurateur. My favorite spot, because I'm pretty sure I put one of his kids through Carlie, is Vito Provolone's on the south side.
Okay.
So it is, without doubt, the best fettuccine Alfredo I've ever had.
Whoa,
they bring the
that's high
garlic
praise.
bread out in loaves. I either, my wife has like 3 degrees. I have like a degree. I think we celebrated our undergraduate degree together at Vito's with like in the family room. So, yes, Vito's is always the way to go.
Right off Meridian?
So, literally, it is Meridian
this up
and
right
Stop 11. It is like diagonal from Perry Meridian High School.
Okay.
Next to Schneider's. So, your work colleague in Sean Copeland that highlights a different dive bar every week. Last weekend, he said Schneider's was a place to go. And I said, I would agree with you. I would post-game at Schneider's. I would stuff your face at Vito's beforehand. You can't go wrong either way. But I was literally having this conversation with Amy yesterday. We had dinner with some friends. In fact, friends that it turned out like their kids hang out with Matt Connie's kids. So I've got some good dirt on Matt for off the air that I can share with people here on the sidelines at practice today. But we were talking about, as we were coming home from that, I'm like, Aim, I talked to somebody that literally I was going to go visit them primarily so I could have just go to Vito's on the south side.
Gotcha.
You plan your trip around that.
Do I look like I'm somebody that would plan my trip around that? Absolutely.
I love that. I love it. Larry Overton chiming in here. Capri, 75th and Keystone, right? The old Exchange City?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Right around there.
Yep.
And I'm glad that Chap's here because, Chap, what's the how do you properly pronounce the Beach Grove Italian joint? Napoli? Just Napoli's?
Oh. Not like Napoli's, the pizza joint on 49th.
Napoli's by us.
in our neighborhood, which is also phenomenal.
But this spelling's a lot different.
Part of the Patachou Empire.
That's 2 words down in Beach Grove, right? Napoli. Yeah. Napoli Villa. People are raving about it. So we've got plenty to throw Lou's way, and now we hope.
Why have we not had? I know why you don't play golf with me because you're too good for me. But why have we not figured out a way, even though my group did outscore yours the last time we were in together, just brought that up for that reason alone.
You mentioned that quite often.
You're teeing them up. Oh, it's going to keep going for a long time, too. We need to have a Bowen and Rakestraw family get-together. And by family, I mean getting a sitter for the kids and figure out one of these places that the 4 of us can go and break bread together.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Now, someone brought this up
JB,
earlier.
you get a girlfriend. You can join in. That's fine.
Someone brought this up earlier. They want Lou Anarumo to drive up to Rocco's in South Bend. Now, should we maybe start our trip an hour earlier this winter?
Done.
And head up
I keep
there?
waiting for the non-conference schedule to pop.
Yeah.
Now, we did conference this past year, didn't we?
We did Virginia.
It was a great
double
game.
Overtime. Yeah.
That was the Rick Carlisle invite, right?
Yeah.
So lesson learned. Went to a bye game 3 years ago, and they got beat by the Citadel, a team who specializes in doing push-ups. Beat Notre Dame. We go see ACC competition.
God, they should have won that
against
game
BC
too, right?
and Virginia, and they won one, and they lost in double overtime. And I remember, what was UVA seeded, 3rd or 4th? Were they the 4th seed this year?
Well, yeah, and because remember, we then listened to IU Purdue on the car ride home, and we missed the whole first half because we were still there for the double overtime game.
And I'm like, Virginia's good. They're not that good.
I know.
And they were the 4th seed?
Yeah, I know. Rake, as always, thank you, sir. We do have to
you have an actual guest you want to have on here?
We have to sneak in a quick morning check down because we skipped it with Rick Venturi.
Right. Bye, Felicia.
Thank you. Greg Rakestraw with us here. High school football practice underway. Very fitting we would have Rake on this Monday morning. Mark, let's go rapid fire here on the Morning Checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
James, boy, you're seeing it right now. The Hog Mollies have got the full pads on day 5 here at Colts camp. And as Rick Venturi so eloquently told us last segment, gym class is over.
Yes, it's time to see a little bit more of what happens in the trenches, and we'll see if a few of these offensive and defensive linemen pop today.
So, again, the O-line out here, see some quarterbacks, some defensive players, specialists out on the field. We're getting things started here. 9 a.m., gates open for Colts City, 10 a.m. start time. That will be tomorrow as well. They'll go a little bit longer tomorrow, 11:15 today, 11:30 tomorrow, and then Wednesday an off day. Thursday, the night practice with some fireworks after the 8 to 10 o'clock night practice, and Friday will be an off day as well. Let's head out to the land of the lakes. Yesterday, James, that was a highly competitive one, Fever and Lynx, but just not enough defensive stops. And, boy, Minnesota is really, really good. Olivia Miles is really, really good.
Special player. She was the best guard in that game yesterday, and I thought that Caitlin played pretty well. Probably want to shoot it better than Kelsey Mitchell at 37. But like you said, some of the defensive lapses will really hold this team back, I think, from getting to that upper echelon tier of the WNBA. But nevertheless, they do have a chance with an offense that great to win it all.
So, again, the Fever, quiet start to this week. Now they're finally back home. They'll take on the Aces coming up Thursday. That's Las Vegas. It'll be their first home game here since the All-Star break. Major League Baseball, Mark Dykton, trade deadline day. You pleased with the Cubs going out and getting a former All-Star and Kevin Gausman?
So far, so good. I wouldn't mind another arm or two, whether that's starting pitching or relief pitching. But, yes, so far, so good. Happy with that one.
So, again, yesterday, Major League Baseball, Cubs did lose. White Sox got another win. Reds actually shockingly won a series there. So, trade deadline coming up later today. And, boy, shout out to Franklin's own Max Clark. Makes his Major League Baseball debut this weekend. 3 for 4 on Friday. He goes yard on Saturday. Also had a hit yesterday. Someone reached out earlier on the text line. I didn't realize this, Mark. I don't know if you realized this either. I guess the guy that Max Clark hit the home run off of on Saturday was I think a Fort Wayne, either Fort Wayne or Kokomo native. Jack Perkins. Does that ring a bell at all, Mark?
Did we lose Mark?
Is he asleep?
No, you got me? No,
I think we might have lost Mark.
No, I'm here. No, I did not know that, but I was going to say that's a small world then. It's crazy.
I'd ask Mark where his hands are, but I'm a little nervous right now.
To be honest, I pushed the wrong button. I was on the wrong button, so you lost me for a second. I'm still here.
Butts on the pants.
Sights are safe for work. Don't worry.
I'm sweating a little too early on this Monday morning, imagining what's going on back there. Speaking of sweating, high school football practices getting underway today. College football this week as well. And I just saw announced from USA Soccer, James Boyd, Poach is back. Maurice Pochettino. That's who we need to ask for Italian restaurants, right? Although I think he's from Argentina. He is back and will be with the team on a 4-year cycle through the year 2030. So the next World Cup, Poach is going to be the U.S. manager again. Are we happy with this?
I'm probably indifferent about it because they did look pretty good until the Belgium game, but I think you're in the camp of don't bring them back. Is that a correct assessment?
Well, yeah, my just horrific soccer knowledge. I don't know. I was kind of ready for some new blood there. But I'll tell you what, the only thing I can think about these last 5 minutes was Greg Rakestraw describing that Vito Provolone place.
I know, man. It just feels like we did ourselves a disservice by even bringing that up so early throughout the show because none of us really eat, and now we're all hungry and more hungry than our peers here. We're showing up.
Maddie and I have birthdays that are 3 weeks apart, so we just kind of find a date in between those, 3 weeks, and go out on a date. And you think I'll be able to convince her we're driving, 25 minutes for this Vito Provolone's?
I think if you profess your love, for her, you can make it happen, bro.
She knows you love
Greg Rakestraw said it.
She sees you every day.
I know. She certainly knows that.
Enthusiasm in his voice.
And Rake said the best fettuccine Alfredo he's ever had, right?
That's high praise right there.
Yeah, that's what he said. Right.
That is high praise there. So, man, Joey Chestnut to a hot dog, Greg Rakestraw to fettuccine Alfredo. We're going to share this with Lou Anarumo here after practice. Grand Park is starting to be busy. Day 5 here. Colts camp, the full pads are on. We'll get you set here. Final segment of the show on a Monday. Thanks for starting your week off with us.
We're going to have a pleasant start to the week with partly cloudy skies and high temperatures in the lower 80s this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear with a chance for patchy fog. Lows will fall into the mid-60s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Boy, it is an awesome Monday here in Westfield, the Drop Light Grand Park campus where we are at. Once again, thank you to on-site engineer Cam Blankenship for getting us set up. Obviously, he's with Jake as well. 10-1, Tyler Warren going to join Jake Query coming up after a full padded practice here on this Monday morning. They'll go morning tomorrow as well, and then that's it for their final weekday morning practice here at Grand Park. So that's where things start to shift to more night practices, certainly more weekend practices than anything. Really enjoyed the conversation with Rick Venturi earlier. Always bringing his A game. He's got his notebook right here. I feel like his notebook should be have a security code on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's the best of the best. And it kind of reminds me, I'll actually be doing it here rather soon, maybe tomorrow. I do my annual piece where I hang around Coach Venturi like a little lap dog and let him tell me all
that's a great
his
read.
ball knowledge. So, yeah, maybe that's the plan for tomorrow as we get further into this camp.
Mark, people on the text line are asking us for this full Italian restaurant list here. You might need to, I know every day you tweet out your reentries for songs. You might need to go through the text line and group out these Italian restaurants. We're going to chat with Lou Anarumo after practice today, and he's an Italian connoisseur. But, I mean, James, this is not letting him down. It'll be a little bit like letting down your grandma or something here, I mean, he's a critical evaluator when it comes to Italian restaurants. We have gotten a load of restaurants from the north side all the way to the south side here. Catello's in Pendleton, the owner's from Italy. Say no more, right?
Yeah, I've heard a few people recommend, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, is it Myelina?
Yeah, down in Fountain Square.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that.
Trey Mori, if I'm saying that right, in Fishers, the owner's flown in a pizza oven from Italy. And this is my favorite one from Greg. Greg with 2 G's earlier. He said rosemary and olive off of Mass Ave. He goes, I'm 6'3" and 375 pounds. Tell Lou I know what I'm talking about.
Ooh, okay. I think we're in great shape. We prepared. We've done our research, we've done our homework. Now we just got to ace the test.
Frank's Place in Danville, the Italian House in Westfield, Mateo's in Noblesville. Obviously, we have our staples kind of in central Indiana, or central India, I should say. Capri, Mama Corolla's, Iaria's downtown. I love Ioza's, the back patio there. Vita Provolone, Rake sold me on that last segment. Napoli's Villa, if I'm saying that right, in Beach Grove. Chap was chatting about that earlier.
He said, don't make it more complicated than it has to be.
Man, I got my mouth watering right now. Just watering.
I got some Chex Mix in my backpack. That might hold you over till we get to lunch.
By the way, I saw a Trent Richardson jersey earlier, so if you want to go from your mouth watering to all of a sudden hugging the toilet, there you go.
What's the most obscure jersey you've seen? Is it that one?
Is that a faded Jeff Saturday, or do you think that's a Danny Pinter? You think that's a Ball State Danny Pinter jersey over there?
I would say Saturday, right?
Is Danny Pinter going to be the starting center in Baltimore?
There's a possibility, for sure.
Someone said he's competing for that job
Snapping
there.
for a Hall of Fame quarterback in Lamar Jackson one day.
And we'll be here week 1, right? Colts-Ravens, September 13th.
Yes, sir.
I will say the Colts have had some snap issues with their second and third units here early on in training camp. It's quite alarming.
But it's been universal, meaning it hasn't just been the guy snapping the ball. It's been, I think, Anthony Richardson in particular has had a hard time catching some of these snaps.
Yeah, errant snaps, mishandling of snaps, both of those have been quite alarming here. Other things to look out for, when does DeForest Buckner, for me, kind of ascend, James, into more of these team reps? Are they kind of saving him for some of these full padded practices? That would be one that I am curious about. And do we see Jalen Farmer at all, the 4th-round rookie out of Kentucky? I know some were curious if he would be competing at all with Matt Gonzalez for that right guard job. I slot him there. And then, Rick Venturi brought it up earlier. I do enjoy watching some of the one-on-ones, when we get in these full padded days. And from a pass rush standpoint, do we see, Arden Key has got a history of being a bit of a pass rusher. How does he look against Bernard Ryman? How does Jalen Travis hold up if he gets Latu, kind of things like that, I say will be on the agenda for me today in terms of watching.
Yes, for sure. I'm excited about it. You can hear that Maytay on the mic. KB, Matt Taylor, Colts Radio Network, getting everybody hyped up for this padded practice. Going to go to 11:15 today. So looking forward to that.
And if Shane Steichen typically follows, a normal cadence to kind of his work, I will be curious if we get the full padded practices really happening pretty much every practice the rest of the way. I think that's some of the reason why you don't see them. They just had 4 straight days of camp. Sort of longest stretch of practices all year here at Grand Park. Now, the NFL mandates you're not allowed to go full pads in that first week, so it is kind of a ramp-up period. Now what you'll see is a lot of these practices spaced out. Monday, Tuesday, then Thursday, then Saturday, Sunday, then Tuesday, then they play a preseason game. You don't see 3 and 4 days in a row. I think an attempt of that is to get more full padded days, kind of get the truer evaluations within those practices. I haven't quite looked out there, but I guess I am curious. Is Shane Steichen here today?
Yes, we know he had to deal with a personal matter Saturday, so he was not at practice. We hope everything is good there for him and his family.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right. I see Brian Mason, their special teams coordinator. I see Jim Bob Cooter, their offense coordinator. So we'll keep you posted on that front. And we are still probably 1 day, maybe more, away from that Alec Pierce timetable. Chris Ballard mentioned last week that it would be 1 to potentially a second week of an absence for him. So 1 week would be tomorrow. And then if you get to a second week, that would be coming up here a week from Tuesday there. It's always funny. Shane Steichen and Alex Tanney look so alike. Alex Tanney's an offensive passing game specialist for the Colts. I had somebody tweet a picture of me from the indoor facility the other day. Goes, "You were wrong on Shane Steichen. I can see him right here on the field."
Yeah.
Pointing to Alex Tanney. Doppelgangers, those two.
Do you dunk on that person when they respond, or do you just let them believe it?
No, I go, I'm pretty I'm pretty sure that's Steichen, which is funny. Now I'm doing the same thing. I'm like looking down there. I'm like, I'm 98% sure that's Shane Steichen. But then I'm like, am I going to walk out there and that's Alex Tanney?
That's a possibility. But that's also why I think we have to vet a few things, KB.
Mark, let's isolate the Rick Venturi podcast. He was really, really good with us earlier. We appreciate Coach. And, again, Inside Football with Rick Venturi starting on Wednesday. We should have Lou Anarumo join the show tomorrow. Thank you to everybody for all those Italian restaurant recommendations. We'll throw those Lou's way after practice today. 10 a.m. to 11:15 today. Jake Query's got you from 10 to 1. Tyler Warren going to join Jake. Thanks, everybody, for starting your week off with us. We'll recap it all coming up tomorrow live here, our final show in Westfield.